Everybody in the galaxy. Welcome back to planet Earth. It's Tape Tuesday. And guess what? It's Earth Day today. I'm going to do a common joke here. Every day on Earth is Earth Day, isn't it? You got to love your mother. Well. What do we have here? We got some Tape Tuesday freakiness in store for ya. I'm going to start today's episode off, once again, with a song. But this time, it's going to be on cassette tape. This is Electric Archaic's The Seas of Terra Vega. It's the intro track on my album, Vega Starshine. We got the Tascam all fired up. Let's play you some music. How's everybody doing out there today? That was The Seas of Terra Vega by yours truly, Electric Archaic. I got another song on this tape that comes right after that. It's also another song by me. This one, if I can remember the name, Infinite Timescape. This one's for planet Earth. And everything that she might be feeling on a daily basis as we spin around the sun. A lot of things in the universe are based on circles and spheres and cyclical patterns. And you know what? Cassette tape reels, that's one of them. That's why we love cassette tapes. It's an analog format. Physical media. It's always going to be around in one shape, form, or another. That play out in the background. So I did my homework last night. Got a bunch of tapes for you. This one should be cool. As some of you may know, yesterday is Mono Synth Monday, and that's all about the TB303 mono synthesizer. That's the one that gives you all that squelchy, burbly, acid sound. And I used to jam on cassette tape with my 303 when I first got it. So maybe I'll play this song for you next. But I wanted to get set up here. If you joined me last week, you know I made a tape loop for all of you, and it was kind of janky. So we're gonna do it again. Well, actually we're gonna fix that tape loop because kind of know what the problem is. I was going a bit fast. Sometimes you gotta take it easy. Go a little slower. So let me clear some of this stuff up out of the way. I like to use a high bias tape for my tape loops. And this Fuji Type 2 tape is pretty good for that. So I've turned it into a tape dispenser, if you will. Okay. So we'll need that. Thinking about maybe opening up this tape for all of you and making a really snazzy 80s looking tape because it's got all that cool hot pink and neon yellow. Well, it's not quite neon, but you get the idea. right. Let's pick up the vibe a little bit. I'm going to put on that 303 jam for ya. All right. So, where'd that tape go? Oh, here it is. So this is a 303 jam I have. I think you'll like it. As you might know, I've modified my Tascam to run at a lower speed. These machines are kind of a studio thing. They run 4 tracks at once. You can record individual tracks, unlike a normal Walkman or a normal kind of a dictaphone style tape machine. This tape was recorded at full Tascam speed, but in true vaporwave style, we're going to pitch it down. We're going to pitch it down to Walkman speed, because I think it sounds really cool. What do y'all think of that? If you haven't already, definitely give me a like and subscribe. You'll be able to get notified for all the shows I do. So, one of the reasons why I love cassette tapes is because it gives you that real analog, crunchy sound. Guess you could call it lo-fi. So if I'm not mistaken, I got my 303 on that tape and my 606. And yes, if you've been following me, you'll know my 606, it's on the frets. So it's nice to hear what the hi-hats used to sound like. It sounded pretty good, I think. Okay. Let's open up this tape loop from last week and see if we can fix it, because it's a really sad thing to waste tapes. It's kind of a sad thing to waste anything, really. Makes me think of all of the cassette tapes that are in the landfill. Oh no. Okay, so you get yourself a screwdriver. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. It's a little bit of a Workshop Wednesday vibe, actually. But, you know, it's Tape Tuesday. Let me know in the chat if you'd like to see a Workshop Wednesday. I've been thinking about doing one this week. I did one 2 weeks ago. We got into a lot of unboxing videos. Had some new gear that I haven't quite tried out yet. And that's something we could do. Try out some new gear. We also unboxed a Videonics title maker. That's an analog video title maker, as the title implies. Okay, so it's time for an overhaul. So let me see if I can show you here. Get you a good view. There's a bit of a problem with this, and there's a kind of a gap in the tape here. Can you see it? It'd be kind of tough to see that. Anyways, take my word for it. It's tough to focus on the VHS camera. But a bigger problem than the gap in the tape is that the Scotch tape I used to make this a loop to stick it together, it wasn't trimmed very well. I suppose we could try to trim it, but I don't like that gap anyway, so we're gonna make a new loop here. And something I'm kind of curious about, because I haven't made a tape loop for a while, is what the length actually is here. I also brought some Legos today. I picked up some of these from the Pick-a-Brick wall. You gotta love Lego. Infinite use cases. So something I can do with those is build up a stand. I've done that before, where it makes it a lot easier to make tape loops, especially if you need to make a lot of tape loops. So I think I got the length of this pretty good. Just that the Scotch tape I used to put it together was sticking on the capstan, and that's no good. So yeah, they say it looks like this is right about 9 inches. And I've found conflicting measurements on the internet. So let's get into it. Let's do a little workshop on a Tuesday. And I build myself a little tape dispenser for my tape dispenser. Another thing is I think that the length of this leader tape I put on here is about the right size. I'm not sure though. It seems like it's maybe a little bit short. But one of the measurements I found online said 8 inches and 5/8. And that's exactly 8 inches and 5/8. So if I can remember how I did this, maybe I had the Legos holding this all like that. And this ruler's cool because the tape actually snugs down into there. It's a nice little helpful thing. So let me quickly conjure up a tape dispenser. Another thing that's cool is that a cassette tape is literally the width of a Lego brick. Go figure. Nice one, Lego. So if I just put in a couple bricks right here, that tape should go fit nice and snug in there. Ooh, that's a bit, not exactly the width, but close enough. It'll hold it. All right, so we got that part. And I like to kind of use this as a ruler, but I don't have a whole lot of room today. So maybe we'll keep it slightly janky. That's fun anyway, isn't it? All right. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that this leader here is the measurement. And you know, maybe I will go for it. let's do some more Lego. Let's make this a bit more stable here. I'm gonna do this Lego here is kind of make a span. Okay, so it's a helpful thing, especially when you want to make a lot of tape loops. I got some other really cool Lego projects in the works. Let me know if you're interested in that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm just making sure this is all even. It's feeling good, it's looking good. And then I'll use this ruler as kind of like a saddle for the tape. Kind of need to wind this back up though. You know, they always say you got to use a pencil to wind up a cassette tape, but that's actually not true. It's these Bic pens. The pencils don't work at all. They're a bit smaller. Maybe there were some that work, but yeah, it's definitely the Bic ballpoint pen that you need. There's a fun way to rewind the tape. I like to do it sometimes. Kind of just grab it like this and just woo until it stops. Call it the helicopter. All right, how much more Lego do we need? We need a couple more lengths of this. Kind of doing an overlap of three Lego studs. Yeah, I like these long bricks here because you can do a lot of stuff with them. And of course, you need some of these normal size bricks. Let's see, is that long enough? Not quite. You sure can use them up quick though. That's something. Okay, so I do this many more Lego. This is so janky. I'm trying to keep it all together here. I need some more plates. Got a question in the chat. How much recording time do I leave on the tape? And I don't really know. I just mainly like the tape to work good and to not fall apart. So that's one consideration. But I know you can time these. And another reason why I don't know the time is because if you see on the Tascam here, I got pitch control. So I've turned it down. I don't know. And then I have a modification. Let's go back into Tascam speed because I've been playing the modified speed here, which is a bit slower, like Walkman speed. So this, with the pitch wheel right in the middle, is a lot faster than I've been playing this for you. Yeah, so time. Does time even exist? Not in tape land, I guess. And that's the end of that tape. Well, that was cool. Always like to hear a 303 jam right after Monosynth Monday. All right, so I got this great tape here. I play this a lot because it's great for the background. I don't have to kind of DJ tapes for you. I do DJ tapes, though. I have 2 of these Tascams. That's my Ease show. I got a link in the description to episode 1 of Ease. That's Electric Archaic Soundscape Expeditions. It's kind of like a futuristic, cyberpunk, drones. It's really cool. Actually, I play a lot of this tape in the Ease show. This is a long song by me. It's called Electrified Rain. I'm just going to rewind it a little bit. We got Kiara in the chat saying, more tape DJing, please. I know, I gotta make the tapes to DJ. I mean, I suppose I could DJ my old tapes in a different way, but we've been making some tape loops here. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and show you this tape loop we made last week on Tape Tuesday. Well, I'm fixing this one. We made this tape loop on Tape Tuesday, and it got stuck on the cap stand. So I had to pull a quick stand in. I got a whole box of these. These are that's your standard style tape loop, or at least standard to me, with one reel here, and the tape does a loop looking like a tank tread. But I really feel like the Tascam itself is a tank tread. Or no, it's not the tread, it's the tank. So you got to put some tread on that tank, right? Check it out. This is the tape loop we made last week. I pulled out the OB6, and it should sound pretty good, I think. Let's hear what it sounds like. Ooh, it's nice and fluttery. Again, I got it going on the normal Tascam speed, which is a bit faster than normal. Let's go ahead and slow it back down to Walkman speed. That's what I call it anyway, because, everyone knows what a Walkman is, right? Do people still know what Walkman are? And that's that lo-fi, crunchy, analog cassette tape sound that I love so much. And if you didn't guess, that is a tape loop, and it will run infinitely until the power goes out or until the tape falls off. But I used this really nice. This is like a cassette tape. Tape? Oh boy, how many times can I say tape on a Tuesday? I get it from this place called Splice It. Maybe someday I'll be able to offer some of these goodies to you on my shop. But until then, I got sample banks on my website. Check it out. There's a link in the description. I just released my Volume 1 TB303 sample bank. That's on my website. All right, so that's what we're going for. And like I said, in my Ease show, I'm DJing these tape loops back and forth, and you can kind of tune the tapes to each other and come up with some really great ambient music. You can also play these individual tracks, and you can record whatever you like on these tracks. We're chatting it up in the chat room. Come join me in the chat room here. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like a party. It's totally a party in there. We're talking about the old Walkman mascot. The infamous one, bringing that back to our attention. And I say, yeah, I do remember the mascot, but I remember the noodle leg. He had like noodly legs and arms, but he's saying there was an alien one with the headphones, and I think maybe that was more 90s. I think the aliens were getting really popular in the 90s. But when the Walkman first came out, I think, yeah, he was the noodly one. Maybe I'll have to get a printout of that for a Tape Tuesday in the future. Okay, so... Oh, another really great thing you can do with these tape loops is make these kind of spaceship sounds. Let me send this one off with a... That is a hover car. So, I'm going to play you Electrified Rain. I play this a lot because, once again, it's a nice background tape. And I can play the reverse side in reverse, if that makes any sense to you. This is Electrified Rain by yours truly. I'm going to be releasing this at some point this year. Just imagine yourself eating a bowl of ramen in a sci-fi future. Your hover car is in the shop. And in this case, our hover car is a tape loop. So let's get this tape loop all fixed up so we can fly once again. All right, so I got some of these Lego plates here. Gonna need to kind of stabilize this a little bit better. And I didn't bring my brick separator, and that's a big bummer because they're not the right height. Let's see if I think I need 4 of them, so let's see if we can just kind of use these as we have them. Actually, I would need 2 brick separators for something like that. Yeah, word to the wise, don't ever stick Lego plates together like this. You'll never get them undone without a brick separator. Anyways, I got plenty of Lego laying around. All right, see what I mean? I got even more. So, yeah, I'm just taking my time today. I figure that it's nice and chill. It's Earth Day. We gotta take it easy every now and then. It's Taurus season. Shout out to all my Taurans out there. Okay. All right, we're getting there. So I just gotta. It's a plate short. So if I can get this all the same height, we'll have a nice, happy, stable tape dispenser. It's a tape dispenser. You got to make yourself laugh every now and then, right? Okay. So if you're like me, I get really skilled in the Lego store at the pick-a-brick wall. Whoa. I make these, this is the perfect width for those little boxes that they give you. I'll show you one. I got one of these little boxes right here. So it's like all you can eat, but it's all the Lego you can put in there, just as long as you can close the box. So yeah, naturally these types of bricks, they work really well. I got a couple of these little plates hanging out just to make it just the perfect width. Got to get your money's worth. That Lego's expensive. Woo. It's sure worth it, though. Okay. What a great tool, I swear. You can almost use it for anything. It's the original 3D printing. Alright, we're almost there with my homemade tape dispenser and measurer. Don't forget, we're going to be able to measure out the tape. And that'll be useful because there are a couple of different ways that you can build a tape loop. This is, I call it the standard one. You might be able to, well, the reason why I only use one of these reels is because a lot of the times these are old, these are old tapes. What is this? The golden favorites. And I'm going to be showing you in a minute how to take that off. But you don't, I like to save the tape. I have a whole box full of the reel from these old tapes that I've made tape loops from. And so, yeah, you got to use one of the reels to store all of that tape. I'll just show you. So this here is the tape from this tape. Again, it's going to be like a million times tape. Because it's Tape Tuesday. Woo! Okay, so yeah. I like to store it like that because as soon as you get it out of the tape, when you're making a tape loop, you want to make sure it's nice and tight. And once again, tape it secure. Gosh, I got to lay off that word. Oh, boy. Let me just show you something here again with the Tascam. So we're playing this. This is at Walkman speed. But I have access to the reverse side. So when you play that, it's in reverse. Because as you kids from the 80s know, you play a tape one way, and then you flip it, and then it plays the other two tracks. So as you can see here, I got it hard panned left and right on the mixer. So you can play. It's freaky with music because you'll have reversed drums and vocals with forward moving drums and vocals. And that makes for a nice soundscape. I'll leave a little bit of that reversed, the reverse side in there for you. Let's get back to my abnormally large tape dispenser here. Okay, so now that I got this stable, I need to build a little platform for this, and it kind of runs down. Or maybe I did it flat, actually. Maybe that's what I should do. I'm just running out of plates here. I should have done my homework a little bit better, but you know how it goes. There's always some sort of sketchy moment here. Ooh. All right. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna double these up a bit. It really does feel more like a workshop Wednesday up in here. Okay, so something like that I think we'll do. Let's see. You know me, I fancy myself a jenky electronics engineer. I also fancy myself a jenky Lego designer at that as well. Sometimes when you're trying to do things the correct way, it takes a little bit of time. Thanks for hanging out with me. We got the time. We got the time to do it right. Okay. So that is all nice and level. And another thing I'd like to try to do for you guys today is make a drum beat on a tape loop. We're going to try to sync it up, and I'll show you how that process works. You do need some kind of a pitch control to do that, or you got to be able to kind of fine-tune the BPM on your drum machine. We'll get into that a little bit later. Okay. So I need a little platform for this guy. Let's see how tall it might want to be. Let's try him out like that. I wonder if that's going to work. Yeah, it might have to be flat. Keep it flat. All right. This is super janky. I'm sure I could just be cutting the tape. Just cut it to length. But I do want to show you guys that you can make these like ruler tape dispenser holders, and it helps out quite a lot. Okay. Okay, so I can stick that right there. That's nice and secure now. Well, janky secure. Nice. Sweet. Okay. Got this tape in the way. It's kind of feeling like a wild hairdo. We got two hairs. Okay, so, yep, see that? I told you, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth the wait. And it's kind of fun to just come on here and chat with y'all. We got Glenn in the chat talking about a Fostax tape machine. They got an 8-track. Let's see what the name is. It's a Fostax 460. It's got 8 channels. I think my dad used to use those back in the late 80s. Glenn, let us know in the chat. Did you get the belts replaced on that Fostax? Is it running nice? Sometimes you don't have to replace the belts, but I had to replace all of the belts on my Tascam. I had a show. It was a Blade Runner night market. I DJ'd this kind of stuff, this soundscape. It was trying to make you feel like you're in the future. We had people dressed up as Blade Runners. I was dressed up as a Blade Runner. We had replicants. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I made this modification in the back of my Tascam there to change the speed. And I replaced the belts. And it's always a bit of a gamble. You don't know if the belts you order on eBay are actually going to fit and work. But yeah, these ones did. It's for some of the more rare Walkman and old tape machines. The belts don't always work. They don't always fit. And it's a massive bummer because I have a really cool Walkman. I think it's the WM10. It's like, was the smallest tape player on the planet. And it got some belts for it. Did the whole opening it up, and yeah, those belts weren't the right size. It was a massive bummer. I guess I could go grab that Walkman and show you. It's a paperweight. Shout out to all the gear on this planet that is beautiful but non-functional. Okay, check it out. Oh, I got to do one more row. Yeah, I can't imagine an 8-channel, 8-track tape machine. As you know, the tape. Well, let's see. I got this tape right here. Normally, it's 4 tracks, on that little tiny tape there. And, naturally they run horizontally. But if you try to squeeze 8 tracks in there, I know you're probably getting a lot of tape bleed. So, if you get a bad take with drums or something, I mean, the tape it's not an exact science. I mean, it's moving across the tape head pretty fast. So I can't imagine it would do it in the exact same fashion as before. And I don't think they add any gaps too. I might be wrong about that. There might be a small little gap between the heads, but if you're using 8 tape heads, it's perplexing to me. And maybe it's just an 8-channel mixer, but I think that they did do 8 tracks on the cassette tape. If somebody knows, let us know in the chat or the comments. We got a party up in the chat. And I apologize, I can't keep track of the chat as much as I'd like to, but I'm here for ya. And you're here for ya. You know what I mean. Yeah, so I'm gonna just give you let's do some show and tell here. There it is. The smallest Walkman in existence. I think there was another company that made one even smaller. And basically the tape would stick out of it, about like a third of the tape. And then they had like an FM radio you could also put in it. And it was this tiny little machine. But this is really cool. It's nice and hefty. It's got some good weight to it. And part of the deal was Sony, they wanted it to be the exact same size as a cassette tape case. And look at that, it really is. Yeah, back in the day, everyone was trying to make things smaller and smaller and smaller. And we saw a bit of that with the iPhone. And I think we've kind of reached some sort of state of perfection with the power of our electronics. But the chips keep getting smaller and smaller. The silicon, wow, it's nuts to think about. Here I am playing music on a tiny little cassette tape, and it only holds 90 minutes on both sides. And our phones, of course, can just stream infinite amounts of data, and they can hold. I don't know. Someone should do the math on that. What's 128 gigabytes of digital music? Or, yeah, I wonder how many cassette tapes that would be. It's nuts to think about. Yeah, Glenn in the chat is saying they never made 8-track cassette recorders. There's a lot of, yeah, I don't know. Someone told me they did, but I also couldn't find it myself, so maybe you're right. It was just an 8-channel. And then you could, submix tracks onto other tracks. Maybe that's how people would get their 8 tracks. And by the time you did that, your mix was kind of degrading. But yeah, this is really cool. So just to get back onto this Walkman here, it is the size of a cassette case. But of course, if you want to play a cassette in it, you gotta make it a little bit bigger. And it's really cool. I hope that I can, get this working someday. I tried myself, and, the belts do run, but yeah, I think I'm doing this the wrong way. You gotta put the cassette in there first. Whoop! See that? Bam. And take it on the road. Yeah, I'd really like to get this working, but I don't know anyone who repairs these things. I'm sure there's somebody out there. Maybe I can send it to them, because it's a cool piece of history, and looks really cool. I like it. Anyways, let's get back to our jenky tape dispenser here. All right. So, okay. Very good, very good. So now I like to, let's get this back in the frame here. So yeah, you can kind of measure it out a little bit. There is that little chunk at the front that you have to kind of account for, but if I'm correct, I cut it to length here. So where this tape leader ends right here, that's the correct length for the type of tape loop I usually make. Hey, look at that. So, okay. Ooh, man, the tape is it the tape that's sticky or is it my fingers that are sticky? You know, this isn't sticky tape, but it does, it's like feathers. I'm trying to herd feathers, you heard? All right, so you gotta get your handy dandy ballpoint pen, and you can, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, this tape is not cooperating with me. Oh, I almost lost it. Oh boy, went a little bit too fast there. I know it's a little bit out of frame, but that's one thing you don't want to happen. You don't want the tape to go back in there. Okay, I got it. I saved it. Whew. Gosh, no wonder last week the tape didn't work. I was trying to make my show pop, 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 like Ruby Rod in The Fifth Element. Another cool sci-fi film that you could imagine these soundscapes could be happening in, floating down into the pollution of a futuristic Los Angeles. All these dystopian movies take place in Los Angeles. We got Daniel in the chat saying, ask Tecmone about the repair on that Walkman. Yeah, maybe I should ship it to him. That would be kind of cool. You think he'd give me a shout out? Oh boy. If y'all don't know who Tecmone is, I highly recommend his channel. I get so much information from him about cassette tapes and other old analog formats and things, but he does do a lot of good cassette tape videos. Definitely check him out. That's Tecmone. And if you're hearing this, Tecmone, send me a message. I'd love to send you my Walkman. But he's kind of like me. There's a lot of these people out there that teach you how to do these things, and we just open it up and try to diagnose the problem. And here's one trick though: just definitely try not to make things worse than they already are. Sometimes you got to just stop in the middle of a project and realize you're out of your depth, you're out of your element. I definitely felt like that when I opened up my 606 on Workshop Wednesday a couple weeks ago. At least on the live stream. I could take it a little bit further, but with this old equipment, a lot of these parts you can't get replacement parts for them. Okay, so I'm gonna trust that the leader on this is the correct length. One thing I want to check is just to make sure I have a nice right angle cut on this, and we can do a little bit better. So maybe I should. I'm not going to zoom it in. I'm just going to do it. So going for the precision. Oh, yeah, that's a great cut. Okay, so what you can do now. And this is what I did for my Blade Runner Night Market show. I made a whole box of tape loops because I wanted to do some live tape looping, like recording the tape loops, and that didn't end up actually happening because sometimes at shows you want to be over prepared, and oh boy did I over prepare for that one. But this stuff means a lot to me. Okay, so the tape is so sticky. You got to have. Sometimes I think I want to get some tweezers to help me maneuver it because it just sticks to the fingers. All right. Hope you're enjoying my Tape Tuesday show. We're making a tape loop the correct way because, you know, last week we made a tape loop the janky way and it was on the fritz. Okay, like this end here, you want to get a nice right angle cut. And I'm just going to kind of... These are really, really good. These are crafting scissors. You want to have a nice, clean... I don't know if I have to state that, but yeah, you want your scissors to be clean and nice and sharp. I'm just doing my extra... Just taking my time, trying to do a really good job here. I'm going cross-eyed here. It's making me wonder if it's better to just close one eye. Okay. Yeah, I must have been really good at this right before that night market show because I cranked out like 20 of these in just a couple of hours. I got it all set up and I let it fly. Okay, so let's make the cut. That's good as any. Now hopefully that is the right measurement. I didn't... Where's that other one? Didn't I cut some of this off? Oh boy, I don't know what's going on. Okay, don't mix up the old tape with the new tape. I'll just throw that on the floor. Oh no. Okay, so now... That was a... I'd say that was a lot of excitement, but that was a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. Those of you who've heard my previous shows know I like to shout out to those old school painters. Bill Alexander, you know, he was Bob Ross's mentor and teacher. And there was another one, her name was Diane Andre, and she would always say, lot of pressure, no pressure. And I think that's where Bob Ross got the least little amount of pressure. Shout out to those old painters. You gotta love it. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. I know that was a lot of Lego, really. But I'm here for it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this going. Maybe I'll re-engineer it to be more of a permanent fixture. But the last time I did it, I broke it all down because I probably needed those Lego pieces for something else. Sweet. Okay, let's zoom right back in to our, yep, it's our flying car. We're going to have to record some flying car sounds on this. I don't have the OB6 plugged in today. I got a little piece of tape there. Let's just get that. Another thing when you're working with cassette tape loops, you don't want to lose these little pins that are right here. I'll give you a little view of that. Oh, come on, camera. Do a focus. There we go. See, there's a little pin right there, and then there's this tiny... I don't know if you'd call that a reel. It's not really a capstan or a reel. It's a wheel. Let's keep it real with the tiny wheel. Okay. You don't want to lose any of the parts. So, well, we're not quite ready for that yet. What we got to do is tape the tape together. And I know I'm really running up my limit of using that word, but it's Tuesday. So last week I used the Scotch tape, and that probably was the problem. I know that most of you don't have this nice cassette tape, but you can find it. It's the exact width of cassette tape. And, okay, I got a little fold in there. So another thing I did was I built a little tape dispenser for this as well. But we're not doing industrial scale tape loop building today, so I'm just going to cut a nice angle from that, and we'll just use it like this. We'll pull a little bit out there. Actually, maybe I'll just cut it. Get those bells ringing on the electrified rain there. As usual, give me a like and subscribe if you're having a fun time here. I'm going to be doing this every Tuesday, or at least every Tuesday that I can. It's fun. It's fun to come on live stream and teach you how to do things you may not know how to do. And it's also fun to get in the live stream chat and hang out with all of these crazy analog tape enthusiasts. That's what I am anyway. I'm a crazy analog tape enthusiast. It's good to be a little bit crazy, right? Okay, so back into the tape loop creation process. You can see that it has this natural curl to it, okay? Now that's the way the tape was stored on the reel. That's why it has that curl. It's been in there for about 30-some years. That shows you the outside of the tape. So if you can imagine, the tape is reeled up. Do I got a good tape to show you? Yes, I got a clear one right here. So, see, the tape is reeled up here, and as it unreels and comes down here, this is where the playhead plays the magnetic information that's on the tape. And then it goes back up in here and gets stored. And then when it finishes, you would flip the tape and do it all over again because all the tape would be there. So you got to remember that, because the sides are different, and sometimes you can really tell because one side is a lot more glossy than the other. But in this case, it almost looks the same on both sides. So what you want to do is you want to tape the inside of the tape, if that makes sense. So we're going to take it and we're going to go against the curl. And this is, I'm sure there's some sort of apparatus I could fashion to kind of hold this, but since the cassette tape is so sticky, it will kind of stick, it'll lie down and stick on your fingers pretty good. And you want to get it as parallel as possible with minimal amount of overlap. And this is where it helps to have some tweezers, because you can kind of grab the splicing tape and get it just right. Now, I did say last week that... also, there's a Mobius loop happening. Not sure if you can see that, but you want to make sure you don't put a twist in the tape, because that doesn't feel so good. You want to make sure it's a nice loop, okay? So, I'm just going to stick this there. It's a delicate process. Okay. So again, maybe this needs to come up a little bit on my higher up on my finger there. Okay. Yeah. So very carefully, no pressure. You really don't want the over. Oh, I got it perfect. Can you see it? Ooh, and I'm gonna be so careful. This will be. Okay. Perfect. Now we have ourselves a happy tape loop, okay? Now, remember, we flipped it on to the other way, so you got to flip it back, okay? And you can see it's got a little bit of spring to it, but that splicing tape is pretty thin. I don't know if it's thinner than Scotch tape, but it does work really well, and you can kind of check this to make sure there's no real air bubbles in there, but that looks very healthy to me. See if I can get it in focus for you a little bit. You get the idea, right? So yeah, there we go. Now comes the next stage, hoping that the measurement was correct. You don't have to measure them exact, but if you make it too tight, it will snap when the playhead goes up into the cassette tape there. Yeah, we got Glenn in the chat again saying these tape loops were really popular with the reel-to-reel machines. And I know that the Beatles used some tape loops in some of their later psychedelic music. I think a lot of people like to say they invented it, but I don't think that they invented it. I think a lot of people were doing it. Okay, so this process, whew, it's tiring. It's tedious and tiring. My back is starting to ache a little bit. Might have to take a little ache break. No, let's get this done. So you gotta be very careful with this, because once you get it to land in there, I think a good trick is to take the reel out. I have a toothpick handy here. I can also put on a light. Maybe that'll help. My old VHS camera has a built-in light. I love these old VHS cameras. Now that's a different kind of tape. That's a VHS tape. And I don't know if it's... I'm sure it can be done making a tape loop out of VHS tape. And I won't shy away from trying it. Don't be too shy to try. But the nature of the VHS tape heads makes it difficult, because it pulls some amount of tape out of the VHS cassette and runs it at a the tape head on a VCR runs diagonal to the tape, so they get more information on it. Okay, so I got it in there. I got it in the right spot. I'm gonna try to show you that without losing everything. Now, that's as far as I'm gonna go.
Gravity might not be your friend today.
So let's not tempt it. All right. Okay, put the reel back in there. Calling that the reel. That might have been another problem with the tape loop we made last week, is that it was too loose. So if it gets too loose, when it runs across the capstan here, it'll spool up. But I'm not sure if you can kind of see this. This is just right. It's got just enough play for the play head. And it's tight enough to not really get too mangled up in there. All right. Whew. That's a lot of work for such a tiny little tape. Yeah, they're saying in the chat that the VHS tape runs really fast, so that's another problem with trying to make a tape loop. We might have more luck making a micro cassette tape loop, although I can't find any micro cassettes that... well, actually, I might have some micro cassettes that have screws. And if you were here again with me last week, I tell you, you gotta find these old cassette tapes that have the screws in them. Otherwise, you're gonna be kind of like, I don't know how you get inside there. Okay, so I'm just being very careful because, as you know, on Monosynth Monday, I joke about sawtooth waveform and square tooth. Yeah, I know, it's square wave. But I like to make the joke about square teeth, and now that I got it in there perfectly, I won't show you, but, well, should I tempt it? Should I tempt gravity again? We got some square teeth right there. Hungry tape. Cool. Give it a little slide. Let it slide because, you know, I'm a scientist. Or fancy myself a scientist. No, it's more like a janky scientist. Science isn't that difficult, right? You got to go for the truth. Usually you can boil it down in your Bunsen burner for the truth. Right on. I'm going to turn the light off here. It looks like it's giving a bit of a glare. Give it a bit of a glare there. Speaking of VHS, let me show you some of this analog video I got going on. So I'm not doing any VHS, but VHS tape stores the analog video signal. Much like a cassette tape for sound, it stores it magnetically on the tape. They did, in later years, make digital tape. My dad and I made a lot of music on ADAT. That is a digital format on a VHS tape, but I think you have to have a special, like a higher quality tape for that. Okay, so I'm feeling good about that. Now that's how that's how I recommend properly making a tape loop. Once again, if you're having fun with me here, give me a like and a subscribe. I'm going to conjure up some other shows here. I've been, I've done one episode of a Workshop Wednesday, and that can cover all sorts of things. I was kind of tempted to keep the tape loop making on the Workshop Wednesday, but, it's Tape Tuesday. I want to show you everything I know about tapes. And I know we got a lot of Tuesdays in front of us, so yeah, definitely give me a subscribe. Join me on this freaky analog journey here. Okay. I'm just going to screw this back up. Nice and tight. On a lot of these, sometimes I don't use all of the screws. You can get away with just this middle screw there. But yeah, these screws belong to this tape. Yeah, I know somewhere I have a bag full of tape screws. I got a box full of old tape and a bag full of tape screws. Okay. So another part of the tape loop experience is clearing off the old label here, because that tape is no longer in there. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I got got some magic eraser here. You don't need very much of it. You cut yourself a little slice. Ooh. Don't breathe that. Okay. Just need a little piece. There we go. And you gotta get that wet. And if you're smart, like I try to be, you don't keep a lot of water around your electronics, especially when they're running power through them. Okay, so kind of wring that out a little bit. Get a little bit of water on the magic eraser. And then you grab yourself a real eraser. Look at this. I got this old shiny pencil from the 90s. That's funny. Oh, the vintage kit. Okay. So, let's see if I can get this. It just kind of actually works real fast. Wow. So one downside to this is that it does take a bit of the shine, some of the gloss off of this area of the tape. You can just kind of make it a universal texture, and if you care about that, and just remove it. Remove all the gloss with the magic eraser. But look at me doing my homework. Okay, so, and sometimes it's cool to leave on like side A and side B. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more for you here. Okay. And it does kind of use up fast when it's such a small piece of magic eraser, but I want to get this nice and clean for my collection because we're going to make a really special tape recording on here. And as promised in the description, I do want to show you how to sync up a tape loop to a beat. So I got my Roland TR6S here. It should be a good drum machine to try that with. Okay, so I like to leave the things that aren't specific to the music that used to be on there. It's kind of cool. We got the Dolby logo there. Just gonna continue continue cleaning this up here. I might have to cut another piece of that because this is kind of gets worn out pretty fast. So let's make another magic eraser. Okay. Once again, I got to go get my water, which is safely away from my gear. And that sounds like the end of that tape there. Did you hear the click? Let's just flip it around because it's nice background music. Oh, you got to be careful with these things. You can break these if you push them too hard, or if it's not going in smooth, readjust. Once again, those for you just tuning in, this is Electrified Rain by yours truly, Electric Archaic. It's kind of like a cyberpunk, dystopian, sci-fi sounding soundscape. I'll say once again, I do a long cassette tape DJ. I call it Soundscape Expedition. That's Ease. That's my Ease show. I got episode 1 in the description. Check it out. Yeah, so I gotta make quite a few more tape loops and soundscape tapes. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Gotta make some more soundscape tapes for episode 2 of Ease. Kind of more of like a meditative, right before bed, pop on an Ease show, and it will ease you to sleep. Yeah, this might be a bit thin on the magic eraser here. I'm going to try to double it up because it's like I'm burning through it way too fast. Of course, you could just take this whole thing and go to town, but again, I don't like to be wasteful. But I will make a thicker one this time. How about that? That's the trick. Magic eraser. Now, if I was doing a painting show, it would be magic white. And the Bob Ross translation of that is liquid white. The least little amount of liquid white. So I got Kiera in the chat asking, where does somebody procure this magic eraser? It's probably, and I hate to recommend people going into the cleaning aisle, oh boy. But yeah, it's probably in a cleaning aisle. It's got that Mr. Clean guy on the package, I think. I mean, I'm not sponsored by any cleaning product companies, but yeah, it really is magic. Look at that. You could because here's why this is important. Let me just tell you, if you go for nail polish remover, and maybe some of you females out there will know this, it will just eat straight through the tape, and that's a real joker product there. It's also not very good to breathe that stuff in. You know me, if you catch me on a Mono Synth Monday, that's my show dedicated to the TB303 bassline synthesizer. It's a mono synth, and that's the famous acid house squelchy sound. But I have this running joke that when you catch me outside of the studio, I'm like an organic hippie. But once you get me in the studio, I'm always talking about more acid, more plastic, because it sounds like plastic. Okay. So, boom. There we go. It's a tape loop. Woo! Yeah, and so you can really speed up the process by making yourself a dodgy tape dispenser out of Lego. It doesn't have to be dodgy. I just did it because I didn't have my whole inventory of Lego to work with. Okay, so let me move some of this out of the way. We're gonna get we're gonna test out this tape loop here. Gonna try to move this as careful as possible. It reminds me of the old spaceships I used to make as a kid. You had limited Lego to work with, and a lot of the times you couldn't really do that. What did they call that? The whoosh effect or the swoosh? I'm gonna try to swoosh effect this Lego to a safer spot without watching it crumble in front of my eyes. Wish me luck. That was a success. It's safely on the floor. Cool. All right, so that feels good. I highly recommend this cassette tape, splice tape. And let me talk to you about another another type of tape. There's no other word for tape. I know you can use the word janky and dodgy and sketchy, but there really isn't. There's just one word for it. I mean, I guess I could call it ribbon. Let's take this orange ribbon here. So what you need to do, as you can see, this was a pre-recorded tape. It was, it had, what was it? Well, we've erased it, so I can't tell you what it was anymore. Golden Favorites, I think, is what it was. So they, to prevent people from recording over these tapes, because you can accidentally hit the record button. It's just right there. So to prevent that, when you've gotten your tape record, even if you're making it yourself, these brand new tapes have these tabs in them, and you can pop out the tabs so that it looks like this. There's a little switch. Let me show you. Well, I can't get my VHS camera in there, but there's a little switch right there, and you can see it lines up perfectly with that little hole there. What you have to do is tape over that. So that's the last step before you can start recording on your brand new loop cassette. I'm gonna have to start calling these cassettes, because there's about let's count how many different types of tape. Okay, so I'm using, this is washi tape, and it works pretty good, and it looks cool too. Another thing that's nice about it, it's the same width of the cassette. I'm just gonna cut that because it doesn't seem to be tearing for me. All right. So you can do it on both sides, but generally I run my tape loops with the real part here. So this is, it's not a clear tape, but the tape is running like this inside of the cassette right there. Sweet. We're ready to go. Well, almost. I gotta plug in the drum machine. Because, like I promised, I want to show you guys, or I want to try to show you guys at least. You know, you never know how these things are going to go on live stream. Show you guys how to put a drum beat on a tape loop. Now I'll show you once again here this tape loop we made last week. There's no tempo to it. There's no BPM on it, right? It's just a drone. But there is a splice. And if you do a really good job at making the tape loop, you won't really hear the splice sometimes. Like, I can't hear the splice. Okay, the splice is right here. Yeah, I can hear that little crunchy bit. I actually really like how the splice sounds. It kind of adds a bit of a rhythm to it. I know I think that sounds lovely, but let me know if you think it sounds lovely. Oh, I have a really special tape loop. It was one of the first I made. I want to play that for you really quick. This one's cool because it's on a really, really old TDK SA90. I guess that's a C90. This one is, it's beautiful. Kind of like springtime on planet Earth. Yeah, I might say that that's my favorite tape loop that I've ever made. And again, you can play these, so start slow. You can change out the tracks. That one's got the bass in it. A little bit lower. Very nice. Very good. Okay, so how about we try it out? I got it right on this one. Tape Tuesday, episode 3. Oh, that's not the one. Oh, that would have been fun. No, okay, so here it is, Tape Tuesday 03. Yeah, let's just do that. I got a little pencil here. Go TT03. I think that's actually a TB303 clone out there. They have one of those. That'll be kind of confusing, but it only happens once, so you got to do it, right? Tape Tuesday, episode 3. Thanks for joining me today. So let's hear this. Before we record, though, we do need to put... There's this electromagnet, for those of you who don't know about cassette machines. You can probably see it right here when it pops up. You have to put something over that. You got to cover it up, or else it will... That's what clears the tape. And again, there's this switch here, which that's what that is going to allow us. It's going to push that switch in, which is going to enable record. All right, so we're ready to record. Just got to get my drum machine all set up. Let's hear what this sounds like, and let's make sure that it's not on the fritz, because, you know, I say it a lot on my show because I'm dealing with all this vintage gear. Sometimes things they just get on the fritz. Okay, so you can hear the splice. And as I predicted and tried so hard, this is a healthy, fully functional cassette tape loop. Can't exactly say that for my video mixer right now. Look at it. It's trying to go back to full color. It's like, but we like the analog video glitch. Sweet. So now what we have to do, the Tascam task. Got to get a drum machine plugged in, which I have. I got to clean up just a little bit more here. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to play you another tape I found last night. I got a small stack. Oh, looks like I just hit 303 followers. That's a milestone. 303, it's my favorite machine. It's my favorite number. This tape right here is called Freaky Drone. And by the way, I appreciate all of you for tuning into my channel. I'm going to be doing quite a lot of analog sound-related things, synthesizers, tapes, whatnot. Let's hear this. I named this last night Freaky Drone. Hopefully it doesn't freak you out too much. Looks like there's only one channel here. Okay. That's the more sci-fi stuff. That will be... You'll probably definitely hear that in my Ease show, Volume 2. Hey, let's celebrate really quick for 303 followers. I'm just getting going, but you know where I'm going. Like a bubble in the sea, straight to the top, my friends. taking you with me straight to the top. For those of you who don't know, this is a TB303. It's an acid house bassline synthesizer. It's my favorite machine. It's my favorite sound. Definitely check back on the episode from last night. That's Mono Synth Monday. I did the episode 8 last night, and it was a lot of fun. I was promoting my 303 sample bank, which I just released yesterday. I got some other sample banks on my website. You can get the link in the description, of course, if you like to make music yourself. All right, so like I said, I'm just gonna get this drum machine set up here. Sometimes I gotta put a little toothpick in there to, sometimes it gets a little squeaky, like a dolphin. Wee wee. Hey, we got endless self-promotion. There's the graphic I made for my TB303 sample bank. Definitely check that out if you're into making music. I'm going to be making a lot more sample banks in the future. I'm thinking about what exactly I can do for like a freaky cassette tape sample bank, because the cassette machines give you such a nice lo-fi sound. And you know me, I'm all about that analog lo-fi crunch. Okay, just going to get these things cleared out of the way, and we're going to plug in the Roland drum machine. We're going to try something a little bit tricky. We're going to put a drum beat or a drum loop on a tape loop. Oh boy. Yeah, what do you think of that? That really is a freaky drone. Let me pop back on the, well, let's see. Yeah. Let's do some more Electrified Rain by yours truly, Electric Archaic. It's like the theme song of my Tape Tuesday. And you'll hear a lot of tape loops in this SOUNDSCAPE tape. Oh man, the tongue twisters are strong with this one. All right. Myself a handy dandy 1/4-inch cable, because that's what comes out of the TR6S drum machine. I'm gonna do, maybe I need 2 of those and I can do stereo. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, yeah, see, the problem with this is that you only get to use one track. I suppose if we keep it on the same BPM and I don't touch the pitch control or anything like that, we can record numerous tracks. Maybe we'll try that. It might actually work. But those of you who make electronic music using hardware, you know that you got to sync up all your machines. And that's another thing about, you know, some of these older machines like the TB303. They don't sync up using MIDI. And MIDI is the current format. Roland and Sequential, Dave Smith Instruments, I think they invented that standard in the mid-'80s. I think it was like 1983. And it's been the standard ever since because it just works. It works really great. Okay, so I got my happy drum machine. Plug it into the Tascam here. Going in on track 1. power this on. How's the chat doing? Everyone doing good in the chat? Yeah, we got Glenn Crow, my bad. Saying great show so far. Thank you. I much appreciate that. I put a lot of work into these shows. Put a lot of work into the graphics I make for these shows. You know, I do all of this. I'm a one-man band, a freaky crazy analog one-man band. Give a shout out to me, Electric Archaic. I'll be here all year and all century. Okay, so we got our TR6S powered up. Oh, when I was cleaning up, I lost my tape loop. I gotta go fish that out real quick. I've learned, label your tapes, people. I have a whole case of tapes that don't have labels on them, and although that's kind of fun, you do need to review it at some point. And I did a little bit of that last night. Some tapes are, you know, they just got nothing on them. Some tapes have rubbish on them. You never know. Okay, let's try this out. It's time to do the near impossible. No, it's not impossible at all. I showed you on a previous episode of Tape Tuesday that you can have a perfectly synced up drum beat on a cassette tape, but you just got to sync it up right. So we're gonna get this going here. I'm gonna maybe try. Let's see, with some hi-hats. Let's see what we got. I'll turn the volume down here on the Tascam so it's not too loud. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, I got a little bit of a scratchy pot there. That's no good. Sometimes you can just wiggle the fader and it'll... Yeah, that's going to be a bit scratchy. You know, vintage equipment's always a little bit unpredictable. Okay, so what we're going to do... Something strange with that. It's like fading in and out. Okay. I can't say that that's an automation. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's a... I swear, it's always about when I'm about to... And now for my next trick, the Tascam is on the fritz. No. Okay, that sounds good. Oh, no, it doesn't. Jeez. Okay, well, let's move over to track 2 and see if that... any better. Let's try to diagnose this problem a little bit. Yeah, something funky with my thing. So sometimes you can just kind of give it a nice back and forth. We'll flip that. Well, yeah, flip that back into tape mode here. What's it gonna be? Gotta say thanks to the chat. People are really having a good time. I'm really glad I can bring you all of this this type of archaic information. You know, that's why I call myself Electric Archaic, because archaic means old, if you didn't know. It's kind of like an archaic word, which is funny because a lot of words in the dictionary say the archaic next to it. I get distracted here. Okay. I love you all. I love you all in the chat. Welcome to the Tape Tuesday chat room party. Okay, so I got the drum machine working on track number 2. What we got to do is try to figure out the BPM, and we can use the pitch controller to tune it. And we got to kind of match it up to the beat there. And when we get it matched up, you know, I did all my things. I did my flight checklist. I got the electromagnet covered, so there won't be any gap in the tape. Okay, so let's listen. And you can see it on the level here. It'll go boop, and that's where the splice is. So, let's see, like, doom. Maybe I'll speed it. Well, yeah, let's speed it up. I'm going to go back into Tascam mode. Make it a little bit easier. Okay, so, doom, doom, doom. So I'm basically going to try to sync up the splice to sound like a drum, and then I can hit record, and I'll have some happy hi-hats on this tape loop. At the moment, it's not synced up at all, so I got to kind of think a little bit. I got to do the sync think. Okay, there it was. Okay, so it sounds like the tape is going a little fast. So let's slow it down. Okay. Okay, that was on upbeat. That was a little bit fast, so I'm going to slow it down on the pitch control. Splice. Did it. Oh, so it's a little bit too slow now. Okay, so you kind of got to just work it a bit. Okay, that was... Okay, so you got to be a little faster. Okay, even faster. Oh man, it's tough. It's difficult. We can also mess with the tempo on the drum machine. That might be a bit more exact. I hope you can all hear that. You can hear the splice, right? It's got a bit of bass to it, so boom. So I'm trying to make that synced up perfectly to the drum beat. So when I hit record, this tape will be a loop. And then we can really talk about tape DJing. You know, I never did any tape DJing with BPMs on it. I imagine it's similar to vinyl, but probably more difficult. Okay. Okay, a little faster. Maybe another method you could do is when you hear the splice, you hit play on the drum machine and then see when it lines up. So the tape seems still a bit slow. I don't know. It's tough for the brain to figure this out sometimes. Okay, still a bit slow. Okay, that's on the downbeat there. Needs to speed up a little bit more. It's tough, I'm telling you. That's why you probably want to have numerous drums going into all 4 tracks, and you can record all 4 tracks at once onto your tape loop. Yes, we got Han in the chat. Or, sorry, Hen. Oh man, there's so many things going on. Asking, so you match the length of the beat with the pitch to match it to the length of the tape. Yeah, you use the pitch control to make it. So if you imagine that the blank tape will have a drum beat on it, so it has like a downbeat. And I'm trying to get this splice to be on the downbeat with the drum machine so I can record it, and then it'll be a perfect length. And then I can move the pitch control wherever I want to do other tracks or other things on that tape. But it's tricky. I mean, I said it in the description. It's a bit tricky, but I'm confident we can land this. And sometimes, you know, I'm sure there's some ways to get the length of the splice and then just calculate the BPM, but I'm doing an analog here. Okay, so let's try again. That's pretty close. I'm getting there. It needs to be a little faster. And you can hear it when it... And honestly, it might be a better idea to do it on the BPM of the drum machine, now that I think about it. But one thing has got to be synced with the other, and when they're in alignment, then it's green light. Then it's go time. Currently, it's not go time. Okay, it's just a little slow. And you can... It doesn't have to maybe be exact, but it sure helps. And I think that this pitch control is giving me a little bit of trouble because I'm trying to tweak it just the smallest amount, and it's tweaking it too much. So we're gonna switch over here to the drum machine and get the tempo figured out. Okay. So, see if I can remember the tempo. Here we go. Okay, so we got 125 BPM on the drum machine. Now it sounds like the tape's going even faster. Okay, so. Wow, it's almost not like... It's tough. I'll admit, it's not easy. Okay, so maybe we go a little faster on the drum machine. Okay, so I think the tape isn't very consistent actually. So maybe we can just get it close and try it and see if it lines up pretty good. I'll give it a couple more BPM. Okay, yeah, the tape's not going at an exact speed. So if we can get it close enough, maybe we'll get a good loop. Maybe I'm going the wrong direction. I don't know. I swear, yeah, this tape is not running at a good speed. What if we slowed it down a bunch? Maybe that's what we need to do. Let's switch back over to the Tascam. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to slow the Tascam down, which means I'm going to have to slow my drum machine down quite a bit. Okay, that's right on a beat. Okay, that's doing a weird polymeter, but it's probably going to... Yeah, see, that's perfect. So maybe that's the trick. You just go slower so that the tape is running more stable. Yeah, okay, so that's on a perfect beat. So let's record these hi-hats. I'm recording. Wait for the splice. There it was. Okay. I know that took a long time, but it was kind of fun. It was kind of freaky, but let's see if that indeed did work. Okay, so we gotta switch back into tape mode. Put it on safe. And hoping that links up. There you go. There's a drum beat on a tape loop. Probably could have been a bit louder, but that gives you the idea. It is possible, my friends. It is possible. So that was just one track. Maybe we should get real crazy and try to do another drum on another track here. Okay, so still listening for the splice, of course. And now that we have a beat on there, it might actually be a lot easier to sync it up. Yes, I got a question in the chat. Hannah's asking if the Tascam pitches the speed of the tape. Yeah, so it doesn't warp it. So you'll hear, I don't want to touch it because we kind of have it synced up here, but the pitch control, it's called pitch control because if you had, like, so let's say a tone on the tape going, this would go, and the reason why it does that is because it's slowing down the speed of the motor. So it's changing the pitch and the speed, because it's kind of like vinyl as well. When you're DJing, you slow down the tempo. These modern C DJs will warp it and they'll keep it in the same pitch, but with actual vinyl, there's no warping, so it's a pitch control and a speed control. They're linked. Okay, let's find some other drum to put on here. See, I can kind of tell that that's a bit fast. And another thing with DJing and stuff is that you can usually get a couple loops in before things go out of sync. And with this tape loop, that's kind of the case. See, now it's out of sync. But if I start it over with the hi-hat playing on the tape here, it sounds perfect, right? I'm going to just record that. Ready? Whoops, gosh, I got my buttons crossed. Maybe I'll give it one loop on here first before I do it. Oh, went a little bit fast there, but let's hear how it sounds. Okay. Oh, maybe I didn't do it right. Yeah. Gives me a chance to take down the BPM just a bit, but it might be a bit too much. I don't know. Okay, so we gotta go to mic line, tape. What happened there? That's kind of sad. Okay. Okay, let's hear how that turned out. Yeah, the splice is pretty strong on this one. Again, you can perfect the creation of tape loops and get it really perfect. But I kind of like the splice, and you might just be hearing it on these tracks. But let's see how that turned out. A little bit out of sync. It's not too bad. You can play it like hi-hats, rim shot, or whatever that drum is. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. I would recommend recording all of the tracks at once, honestly. I thought I'd give it a shot, but that's the recommendation. Get your 4 tracks having different drums going in, and it'll be synced because, you know, it'll be coming from the same machine. I think it's doing a bit of a kind of a weird polymeter there, where it's not actually doing 16 steps, it's doing something like 12, or I don't really know. That's a lot of fun. Hey, while we're at it, maybe we should try some other tracks. Maybe we can put a snare in there. Or a kick drum. Let's see what the kick drum sounds like. This is that one that seems like a... Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm just going to go for it. All right, so there might be a little sound on sound there, and that's when the tape is recorded on and it comes back around and it gets recorded on again. It doesn't delete it because we've covered up the electromagnet, but that's sound on sound, and that does really well with more like droney synth kind of ambient pad sounds. Okay, got it on tape, got it on safe mode. Let's see how that sounds. Now this is the cassette, the drum machine. I've stopped it. So, ready for some hi-hats? Oh yeah, we got a happy tape loop beat. How cool. Okay, ready for that rim shot or whatever that is? I kind of like it. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit jazzy. Cool. Amazing. Okay, we're not going to stop there. We're going to get this 4th track going. That's a tape loop. How freaking cool is that? And you can hear the analog crunch. You know that's my favorite. Okay, so pop it into the mic line mode. Track 4. Let's find another sound. Maybe we'll do a snare here. Let's tune it down a bit. Oh, and it's got some echo. That might be kind of cool since it doesn't have, it's not hitting a lot. Do a nice healthy snare. I think that's a 606 snare. That's right, because you know what? My 606 is in the shop. Sweet. Okay. We're ready for that, and that's looks like it's looking like a healthy level there. Okay, so ready for record. All right, let's see. Let's get it synced up. Snap, 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 snap. Record that beat. Oh, that was probably too many. But again, you can do sound on sound. Let's hear it. I'm going to be so happy if this. Yes, it turned out perfect. Nice and crunchy. Captain Crunch up in here. I'm so happy that worked. See? And that will just loop on and on and on infinitely. And then the next trick, which maybe we'll try next week or on another Tape Tuesday, is DJing 2 beats on cassette tape. And I know that will be easier if you just record a beat on a cassette tape that's not a loop. But we'll try that at some point. So definitely give me a like and subscribe to get notified. That's going to be happening. Wow, let me know what you think. How cool is that? Okay, ready? Snare and hi-hat. So it's really cool because now I'm jamming with a tape loop. And of course, we can speed it up. Wish I had a 303 I could sync up on a tape loop. That's what it would sound like. So yeah, that's how you make a tape loop beat. And that's as slow as my tape machine will go. Woo! We did it. Thank you everyone for joining me on that. That was a wild tape looping session. What should we do now? What do you think? Oh, I said in the description, I was talking about Cassettone. And there's this thing you can do with cassette machines where you rig them, and you don't have to have a Tascam recorder like this. And it's called the Cassettone. I put a link in the description there. Basically, it's a series of knobs that you wire up to the motor, and you put little switch. Yeah, I have one right here. At least this is kind of a prototype one here. So yeah, if you can see, these are knobs or potentiometers, and it's wired up so that you take there's a wire that you can connect it to the motor, and then it connects somewhere else. I don't have all of the schematics for this, but I do want to kind of pursue this because I would love to hook up my Tascam to something like this. And the knob allows you to decide the speed or the pitch. And when you press these keys, it's like you're playing a keyboard. So it'll go, and it's freaking awesome. Shout out to the Cassettone guy. I forget his name, but the link's in the description. So, because I've modified my Tascam, I have one of these wires back here. Can you see that? See that little wire? So if I unplug it, it goes back to normal speed. So I'm thinking that I can basically just connect the Tascam up to this, but I don't think I'm going to do that today because maybe that's like a little bit of homework for me. I got to make sure that this is actually connected to the right thing. I was tempted to open up my other Tascam and show you the modification that I have that allows me to slow down my Tascam, but you know what? There's always a Tuesday every week. So I'm going to save that one for a future Tape Tuesday. Give me a subscribe to make sure you don't miss it. That's so cool. I love that. I have another tape loop. Let's see. I have another one here somewhere that has a beat on it. It's a very small... There it is. Well, maybe I have a couple of these, but this tape loop is very small. You can see it loops just around that very bottom part, so there's no reel in here. Let's give it a listen. Because I used a kind of a similar method when I made this tape loop. Now, it might be in reverse, which is kind of cool, but... Yeah, see, there's a beat on there. And maybe that's what I did. I didn't... yeah. So it's just drones on the other tracks. I was probably scared. So that's cool. I made some progress. Here, let me speed that up a bit. So, you hear it? It's how it's synced up. Nice and good. Yeah, so it's cool when you get a beat on a tape loop because then anything else you put on there, it's gonna loop to that BPM and it all resets on the downbeat like this, like that. It's gonna sound so cool, baby, like a wild cat. I'm just being silly over here now. There might be another one. I think, I'm not sure. Just checking through my weird tape collection here. I guess I don't have another one of those. But that's how you make a beat. So maybe next week I'll pull up the other Tascam and we'll do some tape DJing. Of course, yeah, you can listen to me tape DJ on my Ease show. That's Ease, Electric Archaic SOUNDSCAPE Expeditions. Link in the description for episode 01. You're going to love it. We're coming to the end of the show here, but sometimes I like to let it slide a little bit because you know me, I'm a scientist. I prepared... Well, I'm working on this really long song that has tape loops in it. It's called Tiger Sky. I've played it in cassette tape format here before, but I do have it up in my Ableton. I was going to let that play a little bit for you guys. Let me get it tuned in here. This is Tiger Sky by Electric Archaic. It's a really long song. I hope it doesn't glitch. Sometimes my Ableton gets a little freaked out when I abandon it for too long, but check this one out. Tiger Sky. Ooh. I kind of like to come hang out in the chat a little bit with you guys. See what's going on. Let me know if you have any ideas for my show. I got a lot of cassette machines. I showed you that Walkman earlier. I got a handful of other cassette machines. Oh, I gotta tell you, I have this. Well, should I pull it out? Let's see. I got a Sony. It's a 3-head tape machine. These are really cool because you can use them as a tape echo, and I've done that before on my song World Lord. That's out on streaming platforms if you want to hear it. I'm using this Sony 3-head cassette machine as a tape echo. Kind of like a homemade tape echo. You can get really nice ones, of course. Roland made one called the Space Echo. We got a new subscriber here. Thanks, David. Join in on this analog adventure. I sure appreciate everyone. Here it is. It's a Sony 3-head tape machine. I think reporters would carry these around. That's why it has the case on it. It's pretty cool. See if I can get it out of the case here. Gotta do it. I gotta do it out of frame so I don't drop it on my Tascam. Oh, it's got this. Okay, so it's got this like screw that screws in there. Let me know what y'all think about Tiger Sky playing in the background. Yeah, this is the extended version. I've had it. I made it. I think it's on Mixcloud, by the way. I don't really have a link to my Mixcloud, but I extended it. It used to be like 23 minutes long. It's now 90 minutes long because I want to put it on a 90-minute long tape on both sides so I can do the reverse and play that in my Ease show. You know, it's the Ease show. Okay, so check it out. 3-head. Can you read that? Not sure if you can really see it, but this machine is it's hefty. It's got some chunk to it. And that probably has a cool echo tape on it. Maybe I'll play some of that in a second here. But yeah, you're not going to be able to really see that. But there's the normal tape head. There's the electromagnetic. That's funny. The electromagnet clearing tape head. And there's this one that previews it right after it's the record head. The record head and I'm not sure. I gotta brush up on my tape knowledge, but if I see it in there, and it looks like I got some batteries going, yeah. So, there's a small tape head right after the normal play head. That's pretty cool. So what it allows you to do is immediately listen to what you just recorded, and then you can feed that back into itself, creating an echo. And look at me. I showed you how not to do it. I stored this with alkaline batteries in there, and that's dangerous because they can explode and create all sorts of corrosion, which, that's a no-no. But it seems like it's okay. We'll play around with this next week. How about that? It's a little bit tricky, but it's not as tricky as the making a beat on tape loop. Yeah, we got Hen in the chat saying, very inspiring. Maybe I'll try to make a loopable cassette myself. Get down to your local thrift shop if you have one. There's cassettes. They're around. You can also get them on eBay. You can find them online. Get yourself a tape machine. When you get into it, you're going to be, opening them up and potentially replacing belts. I will be probably selling some cassette machines at some point. I have a whole box of new old stock. I'll show you. There she is. It's the Cassette Aerobics 80s chick. Here's one of them. I had this plugged into that Cassettone. That kind of breadboard electronics thing I was doing. So you can see I have, I would have shown that to you today, but one of the wires, part of the problem, one of the reasons why I'm not selling these is because these are very kind of low quality. One of the main reasons why I bought these is because it was an easy way for me to get some inexpensive tape heads. So you can, I was gonna just kind of cannibalize these, but yeah, I have like 80 of these in a box in storage. But it's fun to mess around with them. See, here's the belt. So yeah, you're gonna be messing around with belts on the motors, and sometimes the belts kind of turn to goo, and it's a real pain. You got to get alcohol in there and clean it out with a Q-tip. Definitely tune in on Monday. That's Monosynth Monday. We have a lot of fun with the TB303, and I do a lot of, it's kind of more of an acid house, acid techno vibe. But yeah, I got Monosynth Monday and I got Tape Tuesday. Those are my two mainstay shows at the moment. I have done a workshop Wednesday. I plan to do those when I have enough stuff to show you. I'm not sure if I'll do one tomorrow, unless you all beg me to. I will. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a lot of fun coming on here and live streaming for everyone. It's fun to see what people know in the chat. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chat. Like Daniel said, imagine removing the eraser head on the recorder and recording something crazy on that tape loop. Yeah. Well, so you don't have to remove it, but you can just put the tape over it. That's what I do. I put Scotch tape over the eraser head, and then you can do that sound on sound like I mentioned before. But eventually it just kind of turns to magnetic sound goo. Sometimes that sounds cool, but you hear that a lot on tape echoes where it kind of just goes. It turns into just goo of sound. We got David in the chat saying, making a tape loop looks like so much fun. Never really done anything creative with tape before. Closest thing is using a tape delay. Oh, you got a tape delay? Let us know in the chat what kind you have. In a normal recorder. Yeah, so I haven't shown you too much of my normal cassette machines, but you can, if it has a record button on it, you can record onto the tape loop, and depending on if it's a mono or a stereo tape machine, you can kind of maybe put two different things on two different tracks. But on a normal cassette machine, you will be only playing two tracks, and you can't choose between those two tracks. So you'll be playing two tracks at once, and then when you flip the tape, you would have another two tracks. So, and I think that's when I really first got started. I can show you the first machine I got. This was back in 2020. It's this heavy machine here. It's like, oh gosh, and I probably, oh my gosh, I'm showing you how not to do it. Seriously, don't leave alkaline batteries in your machines like I'm doing here. That's a big no-no. I need to take those out. Those batteries have been in there since 2020. The problem is that a lot of people would move the batteries around into different electronics, and when they are at a different power, they explode. So maybe this is okay because these were all brand new when I put them in here, and I haven't drained any batteries at a different rate than the group, so they haven't exploded. But I do have a tape machine over here that does have the exploded batteries in it, and I feel like an idiot. Oh, that didn't quite close right. Let's get that back. So on a workshop Wednesday near you, I'm going to be opening up that tape machine and cleaning out that corrosion before it gets into the circuit boards. So yeah, this was the first tape machine I got. Well, the first one that I got that worked. Yeah. And one of those tape, I think it was my favorite tape loop that I played, the one that sounded really dreamy and wonderful. I recorded that on here, so I had to flip it and record the other side. And then when I got a Tascam 4-track, I could hear the 4 tracks at once, and it ended up sounding wonderful, beautiful. But it's different. It's a little bit different when you're using kind of just a normal Walkman style or shoebox. They call these shoebox tape recorder. David says that the tape delay is a T-Rex replicator in Eurorack format. I have seen that before. I'd really like to get one of those. I'm not sure. Maybe I should look that up, see if they're still available. Some of these things are kind of like one-offs and hand-done, and you can't really get them except for on the second-hand market. Maybe it was just too expensive. It's about $500. I'm looking it up right now. There's one for $650. Yeah, that's why I don't have one. That's pricey. Yeah, I got myself the Tascams. I think I paid about $400 in 2020 for one of these. This one, yeah, this is the first one I got because it had looks like a dog chewed on the corner here. But that's how it is with vintage gear, you know. Yeah, I'd love to get a real tape echo. This machine here doesn't. I gotta mess around with it a bit. It has all of the outputs and inputs you need to do it, and I think it has a pitch control, speed control. Yeah, it has a speed control. So you can change it a little bit, but ultimately if you're doing anything with the beat has to be, well, it has to be kind of a multiple of the delay, if that makes sense. So if the delay is going chung, 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 you want the beat to be like tape delay. But something on that, like the T-Rex replicator, I think probably has a wider range of the pitch control so that you can really sync it to any sort of BPM you're working with. Again, I have a song called World Lord. Maybe I'll play that in a bit for you, but it uses this machine here as the tape echo, and it sounds really freaky. I remember having a couple of problems with this kind of screaming. And if you know me, I love feedback loops, but not with audio. With analog video. That's very nice. We got Misty Forest in the chat asking, what do I think about the fine gear dirt magnet? Ooh, that sounds nice. I've never heard of that. Let me look it up real quick. I got the Fine Gear Dirt Magnet. Let's see, pulling up their website here. Wow, that looks fantastic. It's going for, it's like 1,200 euro. I wish I could show that to you. One of these days I'll get a screen sharing ability going. Another one of these days I'll get a VHS camera on my face. Hello, but until then, you want to see me? Here I am. That's your preview. The Fine Gear Dirt Magnet. Ooh, I gotta get one of those. Looks like, kind of reminds me of, what's that company that makes the Lyra synth? It's got a ton of knobs on it. Wow. Let's see here. And it's got a nice tape spool in there, so it looks like you probably have about, I don't know, maybe like 20 seconds of tape, depending on the speed you're running at. Ping pong delay, what a machine. Hey, thanks for letting me know about that. I gotta check that out. We got Kiara in the chat saying it's a labor of love for sure. It really is. When you're working with these types of analog vintage electronics, yeah, it's a labor of love. There's so much maintenance. It's not like an iPhone app where it just runs the way it was programmed on day one. Especially when you get into analog synthesizers, they age differently. They have different problems. What I need to do is have a printer so I could just print out pictures and show you guys. Maybe I'll incorporate that into my show. Misty Forest is saying show on my phone. I suppose I could do that. I like to keep it kind of old school feeling with the VHS, but let me dial in the dirt magnet tape echo machine. I'll show you guys what that looks like here. Let's see, fine gear dirt magnet is what it was. I'll pull up a quick image of that. Let's find a good one. Ooh, there's something called the fine gear dust collector. That kind of looks like a spring reverb to me, but this picture will do. Let me show you this really quick. Just give me one more second. Okay, this is Misty Forest. Brought this to my attention. It's pretty cool. Let's see. That's the fine gear dust, I'm getting confused. The dirt magnet, which is a great name for a tape echo. So you see in there's the spool of tape. It's a tape loop. It's a really long tape loop. It kind of reminds me of like the Roland Space Echo because the Space Echo had it's like I don't know if it was a cassette. It's like a big fat, I don't know. The tape does all sorts of cool spooly things in there. It makes me feel like a 90s rave dancer. We got a request in the chat. Kiara saying I should play World Lord. I'll play World Lord for you. I think I have it up in this project. We can come back to Tiger Sky after that. Let me cue it up. This is gonna be World Lord. This is gonna be a great tune. So again, I used my Sony 3-head tape machine as the tape echo on this track World Lord. That's why I like to play it on Tape Tuesday quite a bit. And once again, you can catch it on all streaming platforms. This is Electric Archaic's World Lord. Oh yeah. Hannah's saying those names, yeah. I fancy myself a freaky song namer, that's for sure. You should see the list I have. Maybe one of these days I'll go through the list of song names. I have some strange ones. Here's one I just came up with recently. Let me test this one out on you guys. Generational Stealth. I gotta crack myself up with my song names. Yeah, this is one of my early releases when I got my distro kit and everything set up. Maybe actually the second release I did. So there's the echo is going through the 3-head tape machine. It's not super obvious, but right there. That's all tape echo. And the voices. That's tape echo, and you can hear because it degrades over time. I'll let you listen now. Of course, that's me playing the guitar. Oh yeah, I'm a rock star. I'm a rock star now. Yeah, so that little Sony. I call it little, but it's actually kind of it's got some serious weight to it. It's made out of I was going to say it's made out of metal, but the front of it definitely is made out of metal, but a big heavy plastic. And there's a big speaker on there with a magnet in it. And the batteries, it's about 2 or 3 pounds maybe. Yeah, I like this machine. I haven't used it enough. I feel bad. It's just been kind of sitting in my studio looking pretty. World Lord by Electric Archaic.
Woo!
So I said I was going to make a tape loop out of this brand new Memorex tape. I don't know if I can do it. It seems a little bit wasteful. I'll do it at some point, but until then, This is like this is one of those classic 80s looking tapes. Let me clear up the video for you and I'll show you. Look at that design on that. Look at those colors. Teal pink. It's a CMYK. Look at that. It's like, don't worry about mixing up a special color. Just use cyan, magenta, and what's the other one? CMYK. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Nice one, Memorex. We're going to get back into Tiger Sky because, you know, it's really long. This is the extended version. Tiger Sky by yours truly. Well, anything else you want to know from me while I'm here and in the chat? It's been about 2 hours live stream. Sure, we had a lot of fun with you guys today. I appreciate everything I appreciate your likes and your subscribes. I'm asking. Please no. Definitely give me a like and subscribe. Just getting this channel going, it's going to be a lot of fun. I got so much stuff to show. Yeah, I kind of want to do a Feedback Friday show. I don't think I can do it this week. I got some other engagements or things that I'm Wait, how do you say that? Anyways, I got some things on Friday, but maybe the next Friday I'll do a Feedback Friday, and that's going to be all about analog video feedback. We'll talk about CRT televisions, VCRs, video mixers. Yeah, that's what I'm running all of my... Well, see, I'm running two VHS cameras here, and they're going through different video mixers. That's how I'm getting these awesome, freaky retro effects. I definitely encourage everyone to get down to your local thrift shop because you can pick up some of this equipment for pretty cheap. You can always get these things on eBay or Mercari. That's a good one. But the best is getting those sweet deals at your local thrift shop. Because you never know what you're going to find. Sometimes you can find some really nice cassette machines and VCRs. Test them. Sometimes they'll let you test the things there. And another thing, when you get a cassette machine that's brand new, I'll just tell you this. It's a piece of wisdom here. You gotta put in a tape that you don't care if it eats up the tape. I'm maintaining my machines, and a lot of the tapes I'm playing with are kind of loops and stuff. It's okay if something weird happens to them, but the test tape, that's an important thing. Because especially if you've never used a machine before, or if usually when you get a machine working with the belts, those belts will be good for a while. When I got this Tascam, the belts, they were good when I bought it, but about 4 years had passed or whatever, and I had to replace them for that Blade Runner show that I did because something was wrong with it, or it wasn't playing. They call it warbly or wow and flutter. It goes, and that's not really that cool. It's kind of like when people overdo the VHS glitch. Sometimes it's a bit much. We got Kiara in the chat saying she love me some warble. Yeah, it's nice. You can do it by hand though on the Tascam with the pitch wheel and but if you're trying to record, if you're recording onto the tape and your belts and your motor are warbly, it's gonna record warbled And then it's going to play warble too, so you're going to have the double warble. We should do some of that, Kiara, when you come back out into town when we collaborate on our next album. Find a warbly machine and make some freaky samples with it. Once again, you can always check out my sample banks. I got a few up there on my website. That's electricarchaic.com. Just released my 303 sample bank. That's 100 hand-trimmed and tuned 303 samples from my show, Monosynth Monday. Oh, yeah. She's also saying, loving the blue hands. Yeah, this was a weird thing. This video mixer, I didn't know it could do this. They call it a superimpose effect. I don't know if it's called a chroma key in other places, but I can change the color. You want to see? It's black. Black is pretty cool. Kind of makes you feel like, oh no, I've been making tape loops all day and my hands are black. That's the white one. It just looks like a overexposure. Ooh, yellow's nice with the blue of the Tascam. See, normally this mixer, this Panasonic that I'm running this video through, it's black and white because there's something that needs to be fixed in it, probably like a bad capacitor. So the longer I run it, it seems like it forces that capacitor to work, and then I do get my color back. So, but yeah, this yellow looks pretty nice on the Tascam. This Tascam is like a 90s blue. We used to have a Pathfinder that was this exact color, a 1992. We'll call this 1992 blue. How about that? Yeah, Kiara just picked up my sample pack, my 303 sample pack. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into my sample packs. I like to call it sample banks, though. I think that's what we used to call it back in the early 2000s. I used Reason and Rebirth and Recycle, and I'm pretty sure they called them sample banks back then, but somewhere along the line it turned into sample pack. It's all the same, isn't it? Well, I could let this Tiger Sky run. It's, like I said, it's a 90-minute long extended version. But maybe I'll call it a day. Let me know in the chat what time it is for you all. Maybe maybe we'll just turn a Tape Tuesday right into a Workshop Wednesday, and we'll open up the 303. No, I'm just kidding. I do need to open up that 303 at some point because the switches have gone bad. It's from 1981, 1982 era, and those switches, yeah, they're on the fritz. So yeah, Feedback Friday. That's a show I'm gonna get ready to do. That'll cover all the analog video stuff. Maybe we'll open up my Panasonic video mixer and figure out which capacitor is causing that black and white problem. Sometimes you can lean into the problems. It's like a happy accident. Yeah, and I do have a green background. Let's try that. I like the green one. I use that on my Monosynth Monday show quite a bit. But it's interesting to see this. Like I said, this mixer is usually running black and white, and today the color has turned on after some time. Maybe there's like a sweet spot where when it's running for about an hour and a half, it just goes back to full color again. So you can see the color of my hands with all that green. It's giving it kind of a pink and green look there. Oh, now it's going to be pink and pink. That's a lot. A lot of color. A lot of color. Got Daniel in the chat saying, in the mid-90s, we recorded with my band a demo on a Tascam like that. I think it had 6 or 8 tracks. Love it. Yeah, Tascam made a few of these. This is kind of like, I don't know, baseline one, but you can get these with more tracks, and they're bigger, more buttons, more knobs, more EQ. This only has 2 EQ. It's got a high and a low, and then you get 2 send and return effects, which I do use when I'm DJing tapes. I run it through an echo or a reverb. I really love these machines. That's one of the reasons why I kind of put this show together, is just to give you guys an appreciation of where we all came from. This is one of these multi-track recorders. These are the first machines that home studio recording artists could use. So when they came out with this, everyone was able to make a demo. And if your friend had one, you could make a demo with them. So it's also crazy to think about the amount of demo tapes that are just out there. And I imagine a lot of them have ended up in landfills, and that honestly makes me kind of sad. But I'm sure there's some in warehouses in different places. They always say that you got to get your media off of tapes, like VHS tapes and cassette tapes, before they degrade. But where I live, it's pretty dry, so a lot of the tapes I've found, they don't have any mold on them, and the sound, as far as I can tell, hasn't degraded at all. We got Hugs from Lisbon in the chat. After midnight. Yep, it's Wednesday for ya. So you can hear in the background, I'm playing my song Tiger Sky. It's the extended version. And I got some tape loops playing at the moment. You can hear the kind of... You can hear the wow in the little splices. I really like the splices of the tape loop. It adds a bit of a percussive or rhythmic element, cyclical, you know what I mean? Listen to these tape loop drones all day. Daniel in the chat saying, I heard that some people used VHS tapes to record multi-track audio. but I never saw one of those machines. I think, yeah, that's an ADAT. Well, ADAT is digital, and it's in VHS. It's basically a VHS cassette, but the tape, I think, is a higher quality. Those tapes were expensive. That's how my dad got started. You can find his music on all streaming platforms. That's JJ Huggins, and maybe I'll play you one of his songs here before I let you go. But that's ADAT, but you could also use the VHS tape, I think, just in a VCR. A lot of VCRs said that you could get a real hi-fi recording, and that'd be analog. Or yeah, they did a lot of stuff with tape back in the 90s. Once digital came around, there's DAT tapes and there's ADAT tapes. There were a lot of digital things, and then there was a bunch of freaky proprietary tapes that companies did, and I know you can find some of that on YouTube. You should probably search for tape formats or tape format wars. I know that these companies were battling for the most popular format. Sony, like the Sony mini disc, that's not a tape, but that was really big in Europe and especially in Japan, but it didn't catch on as big in the States. I've got a little mini disc player. Maybe I'll do something with that. The thing is that the mini disc doesn't allow you to do the stuff that cassette allows you to do. There's no real way to get very creative with it. I think some people use it creatively somehow, but a lot of the times I just like to record my DJ sets onto a mini disc, and then I just listen back to it because I love the player so much. I'll show you one of those. This one here was a really popular one. And you just got the battery bump. You can see these they're hard to keep working. There's a mini disc. Yeah, this is Sony's format. It's really cool. This is, the Neo in the Matrix, he put his hacking program on a mini disc, and then he handed it to the guy right before he saw the White Rabbit and went into the club where they were playing Prodigy and Rob Zombie, and I love that scene, that old classic rave scene. It's one of those things. I need to make a collection of 90s movie rave scenes. I think there's another one in, what's that movie, Basic Instinct. There's a great rave scene in that one. He's saying, Daniel is saying, I thought it was a handcrafted video recorder or something like that, modified. Yeah, with the, I imagine you could put a normal tape head onto VHS tape somehow. Well, VHS tape is not like cassette. Cassette's very simple because it stays tight. If it doesn't stay tight and your tape machine's going at different speeds, it'll eat up the tape, and people always like to complain about that. But I've only really seen that happen a couple times when I'm looking at new machines that need new belts or whatever. And a lot of the times, if a machine is eating up tape, it either needs new belts or it just needs to go into the junk bin or the for cannibalization bin. But cassettes are nice because it's kind of straight up. VHS is a lot more complicated. So with a VHS tape, it has the little flap that opens up, and then there's these spools that go in there. So many moving parts. I can't even imagine. See, I've gotten into the Tascam and I've done repairs and I've gotten it working really well. There's probably some things I could do to make it work even better, but ultimately both of my Tascams, they're perfect for what I'm trying to do. So anyways, the VHS tape, it has these little capstans or arm grabbers, and it goes in and pulls out the tape and then puts it across the round tape head, which is at an angle, and it's writing the data at an angle. It's nuts. It's kind of sad that we don't use them anywhere, but I have a couple VCRs that work, but those are scary. I see tape getting eaten up more in VHS and VCRs than with cassette, just because there's so many moving parts, and a lot of times they made the gears out of plastic, and that plastic over time gets kind of brittle and breaks up, and then you get a whole world of hurt. Yeah, so that's my little mini disc player. I like that a lot. I have another one, but I think it's on the fritz. You know, I love old electronics. I named myself Electric Archaic because of that. And when you get yourself into archaic electronics, you got to repair them quite a lot, or try to at least. Ooh, how about the red? That's kind of cool. You can hear those tape loops playing again on my song Tiger Sky in the background. Misty Forest is saying you have to plug the video source and the audio work on VHS at the same quality than a reel-to-reel. Yeah, because VHS is running so fast. But are you saying that you plug in the audio as a video source and it records it on the VHS tape? Because that would probably be a very high quality. Yeah, they did hi-fi audio with VHS tapes and VCRs. It's definitely a thing. It's kind of a rare thing. So I'm glad you guys brought it up in the chat, because I wouldn't have thought of that today. Because I haven't done it personally. I got the video, the analog video patch is kind of a red. I put the background color on red, and who said it? Let's see in the chat. Daniel saying predator vision. It does kind of look like that. Infrared vision. Yeah, so I'm getting really excited to do a Feedback Friday show for you, because if you've seen my really, really old videos, I kind of stumble upon the feedback loop. I was really just trying to test out VCRs, and this is kind of early 2020. I wanted to make animations in After Effects and then just record it to VHS tape and then play it back, get it back into the computer to get that kind of analog warmth. I call it the crunch a lot of the times, but that analog warmth is what I was going for. And so I had this VHS camera, and I, by accident, pointed it in front of the TV I was testing it with, and it creates a feedback loop because the camera is feeding the TV the signal, and then the camera is capturing that at a slight delay, and you get all of this fractal galactic feedback loop. So it's really cool. My really old videos show me kind of stumbling upon that, and since then I've gotten way into it. I have so much gear, and more gear than I have plugged in for the live stream. I'm working on getting more stuff going, of course, but one step at a time. One step at a time, my friends. So Danielle is asking if I can remove the disc from the mini disc and put it in a normal CD player. I do not believe that. Well, for one, it wouldn't fit, and for two, it is a different, I want to say codec, but format. It's a what is that called? It's something like MPEG, but I forget exactly. Maybe I should look that up. It is, well, ATRAC. ATRAC. Adaptive Transform Acoustic Coding. And that allowed for, I think it's about the same length of music as a CD to be on a smaller format. So it's kind of like MP3 compression, but it was a proprietary Sony compression for the mini disc. So the CD player would have no way to read that. And then I don't know how, if like theoretically, if you could rig it to actually sit in a CD player, maybe you could, maybe like in a CD burner, maybe you could burn CD codec to it, but you know, just use a mini CD. They make these CDs that are small, but the coolest thing about the mini disc is the case that the disc is in. I'll pull it out again. Where did it go? I had that mini disc player here. Looking around my studio, I have so many crazy machines. Okay, we got the mini disc back again. Ooh, that looks cool with the red patch on the analog video there. Let's see if the... So yeah, the cool thing, it's kind of like a floppy disk. Where it has this sleeve cover that opens up, and where let's see if I can get a toothpick. I don't know if I've ever tried this before. This is another thing that would be cool to modify, except for you can't because the plastic is fused. It's like most micro cassettes. You can't open them up without breaking them or something. Yeah, I don't even know where the... It's in there. I think there's a little switch. Oh, there we go. I got it. Yeah, so with a floppy disk, it's a little bit easier to open, but with this one, you need to there's like this little arm inside of the mini disc player that goes in there and unlatches that, which is cool because you can throw these around, you put it in your purse or whatever, your pocket, and let it bang around, and the CD, well, the mini disc here won't get scratched. It was a big problem with CDs. They would just get scratched really, really bad. Yes, the whole, Daniel is saying maybe the hole in the mini disc is different too. It absolutely is different. It's like a floppy disk where it has a metallic... Oh, let me grab a CD really quick. This is one of my old albums, Realm 1. So, yeah, look at this. The size difference is incredible. So yeah, that's what I was saying about if you took the disc out of the mini disc case and I guess cut it open, maybe you'd be, but even still you'd lose out on a lot of the data because the data starts on a CD where the very middle of the mini disc is here. Here, I'll do this. Let's see. Can you see that? Here, let me put the light on here really quick. Whoa. Yeah, so you're already losing quite a lot of capacity there. I'd be interested to know if anyone has gotten a mini disc to work in a CD player. It's such a kind of a weird thought. It's fun to think about though. It's a lot of fun to think about. Yeah, what do you think about this? Man, I've been doing art my whole life. Look at that graphic design. I used to go by Prodigal back in the day. but I think Electric Archaic is a bit more fitting. It's Realm 1. I played you a song from that on Monosynth Monday a couple weeks ago. And yes, you can rewrite mini discs. That was the thing. It was kind of a competitor to cassette in that sense, where you could rewrite it. They have rewritable CDs. I use those a lot to put DJ mixes on in my car. Well, I did anyway. My car had only a CD player, and I was just fine with that. So I'd burn like 6 or 7 hour long DJ mixes to a rewritable CD. CDWR or RW, my bad. And MP3 format, which my CD player in my car plays. It played. It broke. Yeah, my CD player in my car went on the fritz, and then it forced me to figure out the Bluetooth, which was a massive upgrade. Kiara was there. That was funny. I was like, what am I going to do? The CD player in my car. I can't drive without music. I'm such a musically oriented person. I love the mini disc format as well. They're really hard to get. It's not like cassette machines, at least in the States. If you're in Japan, you can get them very easily, but they got a lot of moving parts. They're so small. It's really probably hard to work on. That's another problem with them. I'm not sure if this one... Oh, I don't have a battery in it, but... We'll say, maybe I'll do a mini disc Monday show. I'll do one a year. How about that? Yeah, that's funny. See how glitchy my video mixer can get. It's kind of cool. In the chat, Hannah's asking, can you record and delete single tracks? I do believe you can on a mini disc, but I don't know how it works with the spacing. So if you, let's say you recorded 3 1-minute long tracks, if you wanted to re-record track 2 in the middle with something that's longer than a minute, I don't know what happens. It might be like cassette, where you just line it up and you just record over, and then it just kind of moves you can set points and data points. It's really cool. You can title your tracks and things. Yeah, they're freaking cool. I really like the mini disc machines. I wish that... I just don't think that Sony would ever bring these things back. It's kind of like Roland in the 303. Everyone wants Roland to reissue the 303 in its analog form. Like the serial number, TB303. Just re-release it, and they say they can't, probably because some of the components are out of manufacturing. But I'm still waiting for that day. I think it would be really cool. But we got Behringer with the TD3. They did it. But, you know, I have a real 303, and so it's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't exactly grasp that freaky mojo that the 303 has. That's a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in the chat. I guess that extended version of Tiger Sky playing in the background is doing its job very well indeed. I do have some plans in the future to release some albums on mini disc. A lot of people are doing that these days. It's one of those kind of freaky things that we all love the nostalgia of the mini disc and of cassettes. You can't they did make, what do you say, pre-recorded mini discs that only had the flap on one side, I think it was. So you couldn't, so it seems like it records it from the top, or you need the opening on the top of the mini disc. There's a laser that heats it up, and I'm not sure if it writes it on the bottom or if it writes it from the top. I feel like it would have to write it from the bottom, but there is like a laser element that heats it up from the top. And so on the pre-recorded mini discs, like albums that Sony was selling of their record label artists, the flap would not be on the top, so you couldn't record over it. And that's kind of like with the cassette tapes, how you have these plastic tabs. I know the video's all crazy here. Yeah, so it's kind of like that. So with a cassette tape, the tab right there, and I mentioned this earlier when we were making the tape loop. The tab pushes this switch that's on this top left side of the Tascam recorder in here, and that allows you to record. If you like, see right now, if I hit the record button, it's not going to do anything. I can hit the play button, and you know, the stop and rewind, I can hit all those buttons, but I can't push the record. So I can just show you here, because it's in there. It's just a little tab, and it's very soft. No pressure, no pressure. So you push it, and then boom, I can hit record. So there's a little bit of cassette tape machine anatomy for you. Look at this tape loop. It's seen better days. It's like having a bad hair day in there. Can you see? It's all bent, but it still works. I know Kiara, she loves the rainbow patches. Let's bring these analog video rainbows back. Whoa, that one's cool. It's like a purple and green. Whoa, it's glitching out. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's nothing quite like analog, because you get all this uniqueness. Like my unique video mixer right here is doing this glitchy patch, and it's unique to that machine, and it's unique to the way I have the knobs set on it too. We got Jay in the chat. Hey, how'd you get that username? That's a cool username. My name's Jonah, so I'm a J-boy myself. Saying, cool channel, what are you using to glitch out your videos? Well, currently you're looking at, I have a VHS-C camcorder right here. Hello. And it's going just straight into, it's a Panasonic, I'll get you the serial code. Well, not the serial, the model number? Model ID? Whatever it's called. It's a WJ-AVES? AVE5, my bad. There's a wire covering it, so I can't see it from all the way over here. Panasonic WJ-AVE5. And it's got this... It's got this thing where it's black and white, because probably one of the capacitors is vented or leaking or just dried out. And so it's like it goes black and white for about an hour and 20 minutes or so. And then towards the end of my usual show, which I usually do a show for about like an hour and a half, it starts glitching the color on, and now it's in full color. It healed itself. See? It's got color, and the color is obviously not real. I am not this purple in real life. All of my purple life. Yeah, so That's what I'm using for this channel, and I really like it because I usually put my 303 down here for Monosynth Monday, and it gets this cool superimpose effect. And you can like wire in the background colors. I'm not sure if I'm doing... I'm doing also an internal feedback loop with that video mixer, which means that I'm taking one of the preview video outs and plugging it into the second channel. So that's creating an infinite feedback loop of itself. And it glitches it out. And sometimes it's a bit more stable. Like, I'll show you my other view, which I'm using a Videonics digital video mixer, MX1. I did a really old video on that earlier on my channel. I'll show you that one now, but that's also going through an Archer color video processor and another Archer, but that one's a super color processor. So let me just grab my microphone here and I'll show you around that a little bit. Okay, so this is same VHS here. It's going into Videonics, and I'm doing an internal feedback loop on that, and then I'm running the feedback loop through some of these color processors. These signal chains can get kind of weird, and I can't tell you exactly what the signal chain is because I honestly don't really remember, but you can see that these things, they will start glitching, and I try to limit the actual glitching. I like it to be a bit more smooth and soft, but it's pretty freaking cool. And then if you do full power on the feedback loop, it just goes absolutely nuts. But I can tame it. That's cool. I love the scan line look. But there's always like a bit of a balancing act. So that's pretty cool right there. And then you can kind of slowly mix in a video signal and it'll respond to that. But oftentimes it kind of kills it. But that's 100% internal video feedback loop going through two Archer color processors. It's kind of nuts. And what's really cool, and what I want to do on my Feedback Friday show, which I haven't done one of those yet, is when you point the camera in front of a CRT television, you can really get a lot of cool stuff. And based on the angle, it makes it look like galaxies and spinning whirlpools of analog goo. I love it. And you can't really you can get it with digital, but the problem with digital is it's so fast that it doesn't happen. Does that make sense? You let all sorts of interesting little things happen when it's analog. Yeah, I'd love to show you how I have it set up, but I'm going to be probably doing some videos on that. Again, that's going to be my Feedback Friday show, so definitely give me a subscribe and you'll be in the loop for that. I wanted to do that this Friday, but I have some other things I gotta do. So maybe next Friday, the Friday after this Friday, I will do a Feedback Friday show, and I will talk about how to set up VHS cameras with CRT televisions and do feedback loops with video mixers and things like that. Oh, and how I'm capturing the video. I opened up here. These things are pretty rare and expensive. I opened up one of these. I did an unboxing on Workshop Wednesday 2 weeks ago. I'm just grabbing this thing off of my shelf here. Try not to knock over all these weird vintage things I have going on. Okay, here it comes. So, yeah, here I am, giving away all my trade secrets. No, it's okay. I fancy myself a teacher of sorts. Can you see it? Let me clear up the video for you. Yeah. Okay, so this is how I'm capturing my analog video. And the reason why I use this is because it de-interlaces the footage very nicely. As you can see, there are no scan lines. When I move things fast, it's de-interlaced. And what that means is that, oh boy, here we go. I explained this on my Workshop Wednesday show. You might want to check that out, but I'll explain it again here just because I'm here. I'm here right now. Looks like Kiera. Are you signing off, Kiera? said, what a cool bunch in the chat today. Yeah, I like all, we're building a community here. This is Electric Archaic isn't just me, it's a lifestyle. Well, I'm cracking myself up. Okay, let's get back to deinterlacing. So with analog footage, the way it used to render it on CRT televisions is it would render half of the picture at once, and then it would render the other half right after that. And that way there was no delay when it was rendering the scan lines, if that makes sense. So these you need to de-interlace the footage, because when things move fast, it's playing, you can see the lines. It kind of looks like this on the footage. And you'll see that a lot with people, it's got to be horizontal, but I can't quite get my hands to do, yeah, you get the idea. So the lines go horizontal. And you'll see this a lot with people that do VHS. There's a lot of video capture cards out there that'll capture it, but it's capturing an interlaced footage. And so it always has scan lines, and I kind of think that's super annoying. So I definitely, I recommend these Elgatos, but you have to have a computer to run it. And yep, I have 2 Mac Minis running each one of those, and then I'm going into my streaming mixer. So yeah, it's quite the setup. It's taken up half of my desk here, so I can't. I wish I had some more space, but we're pulling for the studio upgrade at some point in time. Plastic Ivory is saying, I'm getting more into analog effects myself. Any tips of where to start aside from VCRs and camcorders? What tech usually pulls off such pretty glitches? Well, I got lucky with this Panasonic, I think. Again, that's the WJAVE5. I actually got really lucky. I was on vacation in Santa Cruz, California, and they have a really interesting kind of electronics shop somewhere in, I can't remember the name of it. It was a few years ago. But they had it listed, and I have the price tag still on it. It's like this green neon sticker says $185, which is, I think, still probably a really good deal for that video mixer. And I was able to get it for half price because they're trying to just move these electronics out. And they had a whole bin of yellow video cables, so I got the most vintage-looking ones. But I think that as far as a tip on analog video, the biggest thing is you got to get a video mixer. An analog video mixer. That's and I have a really old video from I think 2020 about saying you need a video mixer, and because you can only get so far with a CRT television and a camcorder. I mean, you can record that to a VHS tape and then put that through a video capture card and get it into your computer, but there's no color thing. So color processors, like these Archer color processors, I unboxed one of those on Workshop Wednesday a couple weeks ago. Haven't tested it out yet. I was going to do that on another Workshop Wednesday. I just honestly, it's been a lot. It's been a lot to bring these shows to you guys. So I appreciate your likes and subscribes, of course. But color processors, video mixers, and VHS camcorders that don't shut off. And there's this other thing where, like mine has this text that says auto HSS. Super tip for that is, at least on mine, and it's a Panasonic PVIQ525. That's my camcorder of choice. I have about 6 of them. But look, they've been just running, and I even got the light. Got the camcorder light. It has a negative effect on it too, so you might try that, because you can get a lot of cool effects with the negative. I can do a negative in my video mixer. I'm kind of doing that on the superimpose. See, I just clicked it. It's called reverse, I suppose, but it's reversing the superimpose. So the big thing is you gotta get a video mixer. That's key. And then you gotta just experiment, really. Like the signal chain I have going on here, it could be a lot better, and I plan to make it better, but it works and people like it, so I haven't pushed the limits of it because, I'm kind of running out of desk space, honestly. And so on my streaming mixer, that's a video mixer, but it's taking HDMI from the Mac Minis that are processing the Elgato video capture. I mean, it's really quite a feat of engineering in my own weirdness studio here. But so now I'm mixing 2 camcorder signals, and one of them is internal feedback loop of a mix. It's just a lot. There's some cool people out there. I think the guy who I learned a lot from is EZX, I think, or X is XYZ. Gotta look him up. He's got a lot of great wisdom on the analog video. Let's see if I can find this channel. Yeah, it's XZX. Yeah, you can find stuff. Just check it out on YouTube. I'd like to be one of those sources of good information. But I got a lot of stuff. You know, I do the Acid House 303 Mono Synth Monday show. Definitely check that out if you're into techno and acid tech. I got Tape Tuesday. That's all about cassette tapes. And, you know, I run it all through analog videos. So I do want to do an analog video show, and that's going to be called Feedback Friday. Dedicating a portion of my future Fridays for all of your entertainment. Yeah, so Plastic Ivory, it's asking me what's getting those cool waves. That's the Videonics MX1 digital video mixer. And they call it a digital video mixer because that was the time in the 80s when digital was the catch term. It's kind of like right now how everything's AI this, AI that. Well, at that point in time in the 80s, it was digital this, digital that. So it's digitally mixing analog video. And they try to pull that on you where like, hey, it's digital, even though it's really just, it's really analog video. I'm like, hey man. And it's funny about Videonics because I think they disappeared during the digital age. And I make a joke every now and then. I'm like, where did you go? I miss you. I love Videonics. So it's an internal feedback loop going through the Videonics, and I'm controlling it by, because you can do an internal feedback loop from the video mixer. So you go out of the preview of the video mixer and then into channel 2. And then you can have a camcorder going into channel 1, and then you can mix those so that the internal feedback is running. What is it? It's running on the mix of the camera input. And you can just get really freaky with this stuff. You can chain mixers and do like double internal feedback. But what I do is I have an Archer color processor in the middle of the internal feedback loop so I can control. And I'll show you here a little bit of that again. So this is my one camera view. So here you go. You just have like a naked camcorder view. And when you start mixing into 50%, you can see it starts melting away the camera view. So if you push it 100% to the internal feedback, now you're seeing that. And again, so now I'm tweaking the knobs on the color processor, and so that's like turning the chroma off. So there's no RGB going through there now. And if I turn the chroma up, it brings color back. So with the color processor in between the internal video feedback, you can kind of find these sweet spots. And a lot, like this one, my specific color processor probably needs some new capacitors. But so you can try to find a nice sweet spot there. And I have another color processor that I'm chaining that through too. So now I'm tweaking one of the knobs on there. So what I'd like to get is more pastel colors. A lot of the times you just get RGB, and that looks pretty cool, but I honestly get kind of tired of the RGB. You also need to watch out for the green. Yeah, Roland TR6S for the win. I love that machine. I like how you can kind of do drum fills on it. If you I know you just tuned in, but if you go back earlier, I made a tape loop with a beat on it using this, and it's kind of difficult making a tape loop with a beat. You got to sync everything up, but you got to pick up these machines. I always say this. I feel sad for all of the cool cassette machines and cassette tapes and things like that have just ended up in the landfill. Bums me out, man. But we got to rescue these things. They're like our little analog friends from an industry that is no longer in existence. Kind of like vinyl, right? I mean, vinyl is coming back, but it's nowhere near the power that it was in like the 70s, 80s, and I guess it kind of started to die off there in the 90s. Yeah, so I have 2 analog video mixers, and that's what I'm running my camcorders in, and they both have kind of glitchy analog effects going, different. And then I am mixing both of the signals from those analog mixers with my digital streaming mixer. And I haven't even gotten into the effects that I can do with that. But like I said a little bit earlier, digital feedback loops are a bit too fast, and they tend to go like really pink. Like with analog, you're fighting against the green. Everything wants to, it's like the green takes over all the other colors, so you're trying to fight with the balance of color. And with digital, it's so fast, and it goes, there's weirdness with it, but it's worth trying. A lot of people do it with HDMI cameras. I highly recommend experimenting with feedback loops and all things electric and archaic. Plastic Ivory saying, I'm a thrift store beast. I save every machine that I can. I have heaps of tapes to boot. Yeah, I have heaps of tapes too. It's it can become a problem, but hopefully you can put it all to good use. But a lot of times I have stacks of brand new tapes, and I'll be selling some of these on my website at some point. I just haven't had the time to list them. But it's cool because this is a non-renewable resource right here. That's why I haven't exactly popped it open to make a tape loop out of it, because it's kind of like its own little friend in its own little way. But yeah, that's Tape Tuesday. Sure had a lot of fun with you guys here on Tuesday. Kiara. Yeah, she's still in the chat. I thought she was going to take off. What did we say? Feeling for AM or feeling for I'm feeling for ya. Yeah. Kiara, she's my sister. Y'all who didn't know, we're making music since we were tiny kids. Too bad we didn't make a lot more cassette tape music. I have one micro cassette, and I put it with all of my old CD albums. One micro cassette with me just doing total nonsense as I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. Maybe I'll show you that someday. Probably not, though. I'm not trying to embarrass myself too much. But, that little 4-year-old version of me probably would have loved it. She's saying analog life. I agree with you, babes. Tangible treasures. Yup. Yeah, it's kind of fun. This is the first show I've done where I've just hung out with you guys in the chat. It's been a lot of fun. We've obviously gotten some new people here, and I appreciate your likes and subscribes. I want to get this knowledge out as much as I can in this world because, like I said, we got to save these machines. Something like this Tascam probably isn't really going to be ending up in the landfill, but the VCRs, the cassette tapes, the VHS tapes, the camcorders, these things need to be rescued. And I think sometimes people know that, but I have seen videos on YouTube, and it makes me sick thinking about it, of dumpster loads of cassette tapes. And even, there was that one old video game that Nintendo video game? It didn't sell very well, and it became a cult classic later, but there's some landfill somewhere filled with this video game, and they just dumped it in by the truckload, and it's like, whoa, people. Anyways, so yeah, it's pretty wild to think about this old media. It's treasures. We're getting to this point, like a lot of us grew up with cassette tapes, so we don't think that much about it, but give it 30 years, it's going to be kind of like, I don't know, what's some sort of antique that people are looking for? I guess even really old vinyl. Some of these things are really collector edition level antique treasures. Again, that's what I'm all about. I'm electric archaic. I like that old funky stuff. I hope you guys have been enjoying. This is in the background. It's playing Tiger Sky. It's a really long soundscape I made. I'm gonna release it on YouTube. It's not gonna be, well, I do my Ease show, and that's me DJing cassette tapes. I got episode 1. That's there's a link to that in the description. Definitely check out my videos. I'm just I don't know what you'd say my niche is, but it's kind of in the name. It's old electronics. Electric archaic. So that's what I'm all about. I'll be promoting old synthesizers, analog video, cassette tapes. I'd like to get into some vinyl stuff too, but it's not very DIY now, is it? I think Kiara and we're gonna try to press our album Cotton Candy on vinyl. That's gonna be really, 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 really cool. I've always dreamed of having my own music on vinyl. Yeah, we got Misty Forest in the chat saying $30 VHS hi-fi will get you the same quality as reel-to-reel around $700. And it's too bad about reel-to-reel because I'd really like to keep it real with a reel-to-reel. They are very prohibitive on the price. And the tape is a bit more rare, I guess. Reel-to-reel would be so cool. Maybe I'll get one at some point, but I got a lot of good gear now. I'm just trying to make good use of what I have and see what kind of combinations I can come up with. Yeah. Cassette comeback, that's right. Kiara in the chat saying, I see a lot of artists releasing on tapes these days. Yeah, that's another thing. We got to put our new album on cassette tape, Kiara. It's a key era to a line and a tune to analog music format. It's a key era. Once again, you're listening to Tiger Sky by Electric Archaic. Misty Forest saying they have both. And honestly, to say it's the same, and for my opinion, VHS is better. But reel are hots. The thing about reel to reel is that you can do tape loops on that. That's what I'd be doing. Plastic Ivory, I'm in love with the stuff you're doing. Keep it up forever and always. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it up. I'm just getting started. I am just getting started.
Tell your friends, like and subscribe.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you got any suggestions or anything you'd like to see or any improvements, I'd be all ears over here. We got Daniel asking, do I have Laserdisc? I don't have Laserdisc, but that's also a cool format. All of these things are super cool. Tech, liminal in the chat. Tech aside, the music is really, really good. Hey, I appreciate that. It's my life's work. It's my life's work. It's a gift. Some people, you know, it's a family gift. My grandpa made guitars, classical guitars. He's made harps and violins. My grandmother on my dad's side, see, that's my grandpa on my mom's side. My grandmother on my dad's side, she was always playing the piano. As far as I know, all of my aunts and uncles were taught the piano when they were young. So my dad, he got into the guitar. We had a ADAT recording studio in the 90s. That was really cool. I play a lot of his songs on this channel. You can check him out. He's JJ Huggins. I help him produce and release his music. So yeah, I kind of have it on both sides, musical families, and so I got big shoes to fill, and I appreciate you saying that you like my music, because it's what I came to this planet to do, and it's not just for me, it's for me and for you. We got Jason in the chat saying, my dad had an old Fisher reel tape player. I was born in 1972. Hey, I know a lot of cool people who were born in 1972. Family members and friends and things like that. It's a good year, just like 1982. I mean, all the old school people bumping around this planet. We are the ones, no? Okay. Born in 1972. Every year before Christmas, he would fix it, and it would work long enough for him to play the Christmas reel tape, and then it would break. Oh my gosh, I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jason. That's classic. That's freaking awesome. Oh man. Yeah, so when did the cassette tape come out? I think it was like 68, but it didn't really gain widespread adoption until the Walkman came out in 1978, if I'm correct. Maybe it was 79. And that really pushed the cassette adoption, I think, quite a bit. But yeah, reel-to-reel was the real deal before that. And then before that, it was just vinyl. So we're kind of living in this strange era where this analog music or sound recording formats, they kind of came and went, and now everything's digital, and there's so much richness and beauty in these old formats and these old machines, these mechanical ways of recording, storing, and playing back sound. And if you think about the entirety of human evolution and human history, there was really no way to record sound or video or even pictures. It was like paintings and pictographs and things like that. So we really are living in quite an incredible time, and this is really cool. Just being able to, as a human being, play around with magnetic tape and record my own music with electronic drum machines, that's fantastic. But in this specific time, I'm now live streaming this to the entire planet. I mean, I know the whole planet isn't quite tuned in to my show, but the capabilities are insane. Yeah. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. It's so cool to watch all of you making friends with each other and checking out each other's videos and music. I'm so glad I can be here and provide a little chat platform, a little chat forum for you to you know, yeah, we gotta clump together, all of us freaky analog music people. And VHS night capacitor heads. I don't know, I'm making it up on the fly. Jason in the chat saying 1982 was the best year for a hardcore punk, industrial, Italo disco, and electro funk. Amazing. 1982 was a, I don't know, I wanted to make like a sticker pack some years back for each year of the 80s and kind of have the font reflect the vibe I get from that. But 1982 is like the bright yellow, and it's very bright. See, I was born in 1987, and that started turning a little bit. That's when the electronics started just going black. I mean, I know the DX7, that was a bit earlier. Was that 1980? Is that 83? Gosh, I don't know. But that had like the all black with teal highlights. You see that on some of those old Casio keyboards. The one I actually have a Casio sample bank. It's currently for free on my website. I'm gonna have to put a price on that here soon, but it's kind of a promotional sample bank I have. It's the Casio MT240, and that's one of those like all black 80s electronics with teal and lavender highlights. But yeah, 1982 still had a bit of that 70s vibe, I think, where it was a bit more like brown and bright yellow, and then we just started to see the kind of the freaky 80s colors coming through. See you later, Hen. Thanks for joining us for such a long show. It's been fun talking to you in the chat. Whoa, Plastic Ivory, you got an MT240. I love that keyboard. I grew up with that one. Yeah, the DM100. Man, I want to. There needs to be like a synthesizer museum in every city or something. But I know they have some in other parts of the world. There isn't really one where I live that I know of. If there was, I'm sure I'd be there. But Yeah, love it. Love the vintage electronics. It's I gotta mention, all of my vintage electronics are doing great today. This has been over 3-hour live stream, and everything's just working as it needs to. Minus the glitch here and there. I even had a vocal glitch there. Glit, glit. Well, I think we might be coming to the end of the show here, but I'll let this Tiger Sky play out for you in the background just a little bit longer. I gotta move on with my life and get ready for the next show. I know a special soul in Lisbon needs to get some sleep. You know who you are. Shoutouts to Lisbon. If everyone in the chat wants to let me know where you're coming from, where you're hailing from, that'd be kind of cool. I like to do this global thing. That's the cool thing about live stream. It's you have access to the entire planet. So I really appreciate all of your likes and subscribes to help push this channel out and recommend it to more people on this planet, because I think I got some cool stuff going on here. Plastic Ivory had an interstellar time. Groove on. Yes, I will groove on. Thank you so much for joining us. Plastic Ivory in Utah. Hey, shout out to Utah. That's really cool. I'm in Utah as well. Once again, I'm giving away my trade secret. No, it's not a trade secret. I was born here in Utah. Kiera, Utah, the mothership. Los Angeles, California. Yep. I've been trying to get to California for quite some time. I need to take a vacation and dip my feet into the salty ocean. Yeah, I miss the ocean. Liminal LA. Montreal, Quebec. How cool. We got Missouri. But moving back to Detroit area, hey, do you go to Movement? Is it Detroit Movement, right? That big tech house fest? Amazing. That's where techno was from, I think. Well, in Berlin. I'm sure people will say all sorts of things. New York, Chicago, Detroit, Berlin. I don't know. Once Roland started pushing drum machines and synthesizers out to the whole world, it kind of was like game on, game on. Yeah, I'm up here in the mountains in Utah. It's a great place, nice and quiet. Kind of like the monk on the top of the mountain with my mountain of cassette tapes. Lisbon in the chat. It's 3:03 a.m. in Lisbon. That's really cool. Yeah, Kiara let me know earlier that I had hit 303 subscribers, so I pulled out the 303 to show y'all. You can watch back to see that moment. That's going to be a cool moment. Came a little sooner than I thought it would, but then again, I'm doing it for ya. I'm out here giving you guys love on the live stream. Kiara saying, we love numbers. Yes, numbers are powerful. A lot of people think that the whole universe is based on mathematics, and that's numbers. Oh, that's so cool. Jason saying he's gone to every DEMF movement fest starting in 2000 until they started charging for it. Wow, that must have been amazing. 2004 was a great year. Many electro artists from Holland. My friend got us backstage passes that year. Amazing. Yeah, I've never been out to Detroit, but I know some, well, DJ Artemis, who taught me how to DJ, she used to go out there every year, and God, I'd hear the stories. Such a great time. Maybe someday I'll play a DJ set out there for movement. Thanks once again, everyone, for joining me. I've been Electric Archaic, and this is Tape Tuesday, and for some of you, it's Wednesday already. I love all of you, and I love this planet, and I know that you love this planet too. And just remember, you're the one. Catch me next week for Tape Tuesday. Give me a like and subscribe. I've done a lot of talking today. It's time for me to go make some dinner. I love you guys. We'll see you next week. And hey, if you want more, get down in the description and click on my Ease show. That's Ease. Electric Archaic Soundscape Expeditions. It's going to sound kind of similar to what we've been playing here in the background, and I made it for that purpose. It's nice for night time. It's nice for just chilling out in the background. That's Ease. Electric Archaic Soundscape Expeditions. Once again, I love you guys. We'll see you next week.